It was just a general conversation with Carl Jha, Brian Verletic, and Danny Haifong, speaking to a variety of very important topics. These are the handful of few actual journalists, and it's important to note, Brian Verletic is a American ex-U.S. military person stationed in Okinawa, but he doesn't live in the United States, so he's in Thailand. Carl Jha is Chinese, was raised for a lot of his time. He lived in mainland China, was born and raised in early years in mainland China, lived in the United States, and now he lives in Indonesia. So only one of these three actual journalists is in the United States. There's very, very few. Very, very few. Danny is the only one. Danny's like the only journalist left standing. No, there's like a handful, but there's not very many. So if you want some actual truth outside of the Silver Spook streams, obviously there's Black Power Media, and then you've got Left Lens with Danny. Big Teal is in all of these. I was like, oh, there's Big Teal in there, moderating the chat. About aspects of the Ukraine conflict, Taiwan conflict, modern day imperialism. It actually dovetails with a lot of what I was talking to this morning. I'm kind of off the John Romero topic right now, but when I was talking about this morning, with a video that I made this morning about Foundation, which is an Asimov science fiction story, and empire versus multipolarity, and countries that function in really, I like Foundation because, as I said earlier, it kind of it emphasizes the point I'm often making about win-win cooperation, right? The Silk Road, mutual beneficial non-colonial relationships, right? Where when nations that can actually really grow and build prosperity, right, and build infrastructure and build civilization without harming, crushing, subjugating, building monoculture, mono ideology systems, right? Well, the West has never been able to do that. Is an argument I'm constantly coming back to historically, right? Because I'm kind of extending beyond, because obviously what they're talking about in like this kind of stream is it's very much about, let's say, the present and then near history. Oh, Carl goes back. Carl's a historian. His Silk and Steel podcast goes back thousands of years. I like to kind of expand that to, it's not just the present U.S. Versus the threat of China problem, right? And Western capitalism versus multipolar and largely socialist and non-colonial structures. But this pattern goes back thousands of years, and it stretches into the West, the East, Africa, Asia, the Turtle Island as well. And not only that, it stretches into the future in a lot of senses, right? With the way that the West projects forward in science fiction, because I'm also a science fiction writer, right? So I think it's important for people to, that's kind of, if there is any Silver Spook special sauce that I am adding to the collective, well-spiced curry of the planetary actual existing foundation, right, which is the actual nugget of civilization that will replace an imperial hegemonic capitalist world, right? Then it's because I have a particular positionality, right, as a native Hawaiian. My stream appears to have died. What happened there? Oh, did I say something too real? I put too much Danny Haifong on this. I put too much Danny Haifong up, and all of a sudden the YouTube's like, the internet's like, nope, you can't be standing too much anti-imperialism, otherwise we shut your internet off. No, it's probably not that. It's probably just something glitch. But anyways, so it's kind of like, I hope what I'm saying didn't get cut out. But so it might have just been my laptop. That the actual the future is, and the fiction and the pop cultural, and not just the pop cultural, the cultural, generally speaking, entertainment is also important to investigate, right? That's what a lot of the stuff I do on the YouTube channel is, like analyzing, to give myself more shout outs, to practice marketing for myself. A lot of what the YouTube channel is is analyzing media, movies, films, shows, games, as and many times science fictional, because I do work a lot of times in science fiction, right? Cyberpunk as a subgenre of science fiction, but not exclusively, right? So I did one on Wednesday, The Peripheral, Black Panther, Wendell and Wild, and Lovecraft Country, She-Hulk. How does the entertainment industrial complex, right? How does the futurism industrial complex, right? How does what we think about what is coming, right? How do we, when we think about what a multi-planetary, multi-solar system civilization, right, with quantum teleportation and warp drives and Einstein-Rosen bridges and 10,000 year spanning 14 trillion person empires, what does that look like? The fact that we can only see empire, right? The fact that we can only see empire, with few exceptions, like things like Star Trek and things like The Day the Earth Stood Still, are science fictional projections. I would argue they're science fictional projections with more Eastern thinking, right? But you don't see a lot of The Day the Earth Stood Still nowadays, right? Mostly what you see is, Star Wars, which, as I brought up, is very sanitized relative to Asimov, who was a Russian Jew. Very important. So somebody actually brought up. I'm gonna dovetail this out into this because this is actually relevant. Somebody brought up today that that Asimov's where was that now? Yeah, somebody brought up today. Where did they bring it up? Holly, do you remember where they brought it up? Was it off topic? I swear it was in here. Wait. Where was it? Where in Discord? I'm trying to. What topic? Articles and media. Okay, here it goes. Yeah. So the thing that people brought up, somebody brought up, Agnos brought up, was that in the Discord. By the way, if you want to join the Discord, you can join the Silver Spook Discord if you become a Patreon at any level, and then you can have really awesome conversations that we have there. Only the most interesting, only the most based, only the most smartest conversations happen in the Silver Spook Discord. So you're gonna have to join that Discord. Right? You will be completely left out of the foundation, building the knowledge base in preparation for the end of Empire. You're not going to be part of the foundation if you're not in the Silver Spook. Silver Spook Discord is the foundation from Isaac Asimov's books. It is the future. So I'm just kidding, of course. But the Foundation series from the latest stream, here's a little tidbit that Agnos brought up. Frank Herbert also wrote Dune. Frank Herbert wrote Dune as a counterpoint to Foundation, right? Frank Herbert is a white American. Isaac Asimov is a Russian Jew. Raised in America, but he actually has a very strong Eastern perspective that deeply impacted by Eastern thinking. This goes beyond even just communism, capitalism struggles, although those are part of it. Right, the Soviet Union is part of what the experiences reverberating from the Russian Revolution and the Soviet Union impacted Asimov, right? Whereas Frank Herbert is just an average white American man. And Frank Herbert wrote Dune as a counterpoint to Foundation. Tim O'Reilly, in his monograph on Herbert, wrote that Dune is clearly a commentary on the Foundation trilogy. Herbert has taken a look at the imaginative situation that provoked Asimov's classic, The Decay of Galactic Empire. I'm reading this part. And restated it in a way that draws on different assumptions and suggests radically different conclusions. The twist that he introduced into Dune is that the mule, not the Foundation, is a hero. The mule is the mule in Foundation is a character who is enigmatic but is extremely empowered. He is super heroic, right? He has the ability to see the future in a way that nobody else can. He has a way to read minds, and he can, as one individual who can move entire populations in a direction that he wants, right? So it's very much the strong individual. It's very Ayn Randian, It's very Western, right? Strong individuals, right? Enterprising individuals pursuing their own rational self-interest move history, right? It's great man of history, rather than the Eastern, more Russian thinking of, mass movements, dialectical materialist analyses of collectives together, right? And a lot of times the working classes, obviously, moving history together, rather than one strong Tsar or one strong emperor, one strong king, one strong capitalist, one strong president, one strong or a handful of oligarchic, wealthy, empowered individuals moving history. So Frank Herbert read, right, when his Atreides, Paul Atreides, is very much a rewriting of the Eastern thinking. And so it seems that Herbert saw the one great superpowered individual as the hero that saves the universe, whereas Isaac, a Russian Eastern thinker, of course, saw saving the world as a necessary collective effort, first as the foundation collective that has to be set up to preserve the critical knowledge to rebuild civilization, and then other powerful types of collectives that come later toward the end of the foundation series, which I'm not going to spoil. Of these two, I have to side with Asimov hands down, but we'll probably still watch Dune 2 anyway because of Villeneuve's artistry. Denis Villeneuve is the director who also directed Cyberpunk. Blade Runner 2049. So that's another Cyberpunk connection there. But and I think that's important. This is one of the things that this is what I mean when I say, not only is the struggle, not only is the hybrid war, not only is the imperial versus the win-lose imperial versus the win-win cooperative, mutual respect tendencies, right? That struggle is playing out with the U.S. China, with capitalism and multipolar and socialist reality, right? With colonialism versus anti-colonial liberation, right? But it's playing out in history. The fight over the history wars, which is on Black Power Media, which is a very good video, where literally the fight over what gets put into the history curriculum in the university and at the K-12 level is part of that struggle. Literally fighting over what kids learn. That's as I argue, that's one of the most important struggles, is literally your education, right? That builds the future civilization, as Ho Chi Minh once said. If you want socialism, you must create socialist human beings, and you create socialist human beings through their education. But this education, history, current day politics, as the DC and Beijing and the people, standoff. But it's also being played out in the future by the projections of the society, right? Where can we go, right? Where will we go, right? Is history led by strong, powerful, super empowered superheroes, right? Superheroes, I would argue, are kind of fundamentally anti-collectivist. They're very super heroism, right? A strong like a Superman, right? Saving the world individually, right? It's very Clint Eastwoodian, which is to say Ayn Randian, which is to say Western capitalist, individual enterprise, strong people with a gun, right? Like it's very Cleon, to use foundation, right? It's very, I personally am the empire. I defend, Caesar, right? Cleon, not I Robot, because robots don't have any sentience. But that was also Asimov wrote I Robot, right? So that was part of it was if you read it very closely, it's part of it is and it comes out in Foundation, which is that in Neofeud I make that point as well, which is the word robot itself, right? The word robot comes from Slavic rabu, which is related to a word that originally meant slave, right? Rabota, I think it's robot, comes from rabota and from rabu, slave, right? So the robot, when Asimov's talking about robots, there's a subtext that is lacking in the American re-envisioning, right? In the same way that Frank Herbert, right, the American 1950s science fiction co-warrior, I would argue, similar to Heinlein. Heinlein, right, wrote an anti-communist, anti-Asian, right? They're just what they were talking about in this panel, right, where they're talking about Carl and was bringing up the fact, and Brian were bringing up anti-Asian racism, right, which is anti-Eastern, right? This kind of alien, Carl's bringing up anti-Asian, where the West and Americans don't even understand anything about Asia. All they have is Western media's and Western ruling elites' projections about what the China is. This scary place where everything's authoritarian. They don't know anything. It's just filled of dragons and brainwashing. They don't know anything about what real China is, right? Or what real Asia is, right? Most Americans haven't been there. And Heinlein, right, wrote this anti-Asian, anti-communist screed. It was called Starship Troopers, one of many, right? As a co-warrior to prevent the spread of communism in the mid 20th century. And so that was science fiction. That was so really when Heinlein wrote Starship Troopers, that was a shot across the bow. That was a future war, a science fiction cultural war, right? A pop cultural entertainment war, in the same way that there's a history war being fought over what gets put in American textbooks, right? And when Frank Herbert rewrote Foundation to have more Western values implanted in a multi-100,000-year spanning galactic space opera with sentient robot wars, with entertaining space battles and population movements, political intrigue, all the sense of wonder of science fiction, cloning and consciousness transference, having your AI version of yourself implanted into a starship. So it has all of those trappings of fun science fiction, right? And thought-provoking, futuristic writing. But then it twists the narrative into something that benefits Western capitalist imperial U.S. hegemonic interests, right? So that was really what Dune was, consciously or unconsciously. And then I have a video specifically about Dune. Star Wars as well. I just went over that earlier as well. It strips a lot of the it westernizes the protagonists, and it easternizes the enemies, as I brought up, with communist coded empire. Whereas the Foundation, even the TV show, I would argue the Foundation TV show does a better job of having a more let's say left or more honest, I would argue, account, because the empire is not something that's outside. It's something that is of the West. It's something that is of Rome is of the West, right? The protagonists are, the people that are committing the imperial acts look, act, and sound like Europeans and Euro settlers, right? So some people said we shouldn't even call Americans Americans. They should just be called Europeans in America or Europeans in Turtle Island, because that's what they are. When you call an American, some people bring up this argument. When you call an American, you give them a weird indigeneity. You give them a unearned place-based identity that is completely imposed. It's based on Amerigo Vespucci, some Italian European map maker, right? So similarly, it's kind of like, when Star Wars rewrites Empire as Russian, when Dune rewrites Star Wars as when Dune rewrites Asimov as Vladimir's the enemy, strong individual white men save the galaxy with their strength, leading Middle Eastern freemen, right? The fremen of, it's basically space Afghanistan and space Israel, right? And space Palestine that becomes in the 20th century a platform to punch against Russia and China, right? To punch against the East. That's what Israel is. That's what Palestine, the settler colony that is on Palestine, is for. And so you can see how Dune re-encodes the fun, entertaining science fictional story of Foundation that's from an Eastern perspective, and then it re-encodes it for a Western U.S. perspective, and it makes the enemy. I call it Vladimirization, right? Because the enemy is a Russian. Even the peripheral is guilty of this by making it Russian oligarchs, Russian kleptocracy in Britain. That's the problem, and not that Britain is not like the British Empire ever stole anyone's wealth. It was the Russians that came in and did that for the British. You see how that happens? I call it Vladimirization. Vladimir Putin did all the evil of America and Europe and all the colonizers, right? And Vladimir Harkonnen in Dune did all the evil, right? Not like the U.S. settler colony and genocidal empire that is killing millions of Koreans and Vietnamese in that time when it was written, by the way, killing Koreans, right? Backing the far right in with the CIA complicity in making Al Qaeda what would become Al Qaeda, backing the Mujahideen. It's not like the U.S. is intervening in everyone else's affairs and causing death and destruction for the profit of a minority. It's Vladimir out there. It's some kind of like Vladimir or a Stalin. There's some kind of evil Russian out there, and the evil Russian is who we have to fight. So sign up for the Starship Troopers, minus the star. Sign up for the Battleship Troopers, and let's go shoot some missiles at Taiwan. So it's like so. Anyway, I've gone off of this all morning, but I think like the like that's important. Like another layer to add into all of this discussion is how both it's history, and it's not history is lacking obviously in the Western world, and you really get that if you listen to Carl. Carl's very important because Carl is similar to Luna Oi, which is another friend of ours at the Silver Spook Cooperative. We've done many panels with, but Luna Oi is very fluent and willing to speak in English, but it's from Vietnam, from Asia, right? This place that is just a mystery to the West for a variety of reasons. Often reasons that are implanted by the ruling class of the West. To prevent the spread of communism and socialism and multipolarity. But Luna Oi is willing to speak across that, and Carl is fluent in English, and just but being fluent in English is not enough, right? You have to also be willing to speak, and you're going to take a lot of hate and deal with a lot of racism, right? And you're going to deal with a lot of pushback and people just completely yelling at you and getting you banned and taking your account deactivated on Twitter. So Carl is willing to, he spent some time in the US, he spent time in China. Now he lives in another place, but he knows both countries, right? And he's willing to talk and speak and try to educate Americans despite all of the hate and ignorance and racism that always coming at him. So that's not always easy to put up with. That's why like Carl is one of a variety of people that are very important sources of information that you're not going to get. And Brian also, of course, is a military personnel who knows the U.S. military very well because he was in it and he was stationed in Asia, right? He was stationed in the East, the enemy of the West. And so, but then he's like, but I don't agree. He's a defected stormtrooper basically. He's like, I'm not gonna do the bidding of Empire. I'm gonna try to stop this system that is actually hurting my own fellow American people. It's not. They're all talking in the stream about how the U.S. policy is basically insane. It is completely off. It's nuts. It's not. It doesn't make any sense realistically. Like China, you cannot stop the rise of China. The only thing you can try to do is nuclear war, but that stops everything. It doesn't make any sense. The U.S. policy. All it is doing is hurting its people for short-sighted temporary gain of a handful of very wealthy investors and oligarchs and unhinged neocons, right? So it's somewhere between insane and selfish, greedy, short-sighted, greed, just capitalist stupidity. It's somewhere between insane and stupid. That's where everything the U.S. is doing and the West is doing, really, right? It is the U.S. is living out its Roman trajectory, right? And not in a good way. It's a living example of Rome. With Rome, U.S. is Rome with heat-seeking missiles and too many broken aircraft carriers. Overextended, right? Incapable of caring for its own population's needs, right? And so, in that sense, right, that is like what's happening. But the people inside, the people who can really make a real difference, the average American actually has a lot of ability to make it. If the Americans actually function as a democracy, right, and the will of the people, if the will of the people don't want to die in nuclear war or starve to death or be crushed by their own elite. So if the will of the people of America was carried out, right, and they understood that there's nothing to fear in Russia and China, and the rest of the world wants to work together with the United States, then the U.S. could build a country and a government and a system, right, that benefits them and the rest of the world. They could participate in win-win cooperation, but they don't have that. There's many things happening. Some of it's self-harm. Some of it's the ruling class making them self-harm by diseducating them. But it's like, anyway. I know most people here. I'm probably speaking to the choir, kind of, but just for the record. So Big Deal says people who are Asian and speak out against imperialism have definitely got attacked. Empire is desperate. Keyword fear. If there was no fear of the other, there would be no need to support Imperial Wars. And this is actually a good place to dovetail out because I had a lot of things I want to talk about. I don't want to rehash my earlier stream. I wanted to go off into some other topics, but such as artificial intelligence causing rampant writer, artist, coder, permanent unemployment, faltering. I talked about faltering Imperial proxy war a little bit. I'll go more into that maybe, and then I'll do some Neofeud 2 sneak peeks. I did a little bit more Asimov Foundation analysis. There's so much to talk about Foundation. Like Holly and I had a good time watching the show. I'll be straight up. I'm amazed that I didn't find out that the show existed until last week. So yeah, that's too bad. I think it's something to do with COVID and just the marketing didn't hit. But it actually came out at the same time as Dune, right? Dune and Foundation. It's basically Frank Herbert ripped off Asimov in a lot of ways, right? As I already said, and Star Wars kind of ripped off both of them. George Lucas did, and so I recommend anybody check it out if you haven't yet. Even if you haven't read the books, I would recommend you check it out. Especially if you like, large scale galactic sci-fi and that kind of thing. It's like I would say of Dune, Star Wars, and Foundation. I mean, Neofeud 2 is the best space, large-scale, galaxy-wide sci-fi thing ever. So I'm just gonna say that. I mean, I make the best thing in the universe because that that's just the Westerner in me. Being all talk and no walk. But no. But of Star Wars and of Dune and of Foundation, I would say Foundation is probably the best thing. The most based and also the most entertaining. I stayed awake for that more than. It's hard to really compare. It's a little apples to oranges because I watched Star Wars Episode 4 in 1986 or whatever when I was a little whippersnapper, a cyber whippersnapper. My robot arm was just it was only like 3 little links of titanium chain. I hadn't quite grown into my full robot arm cyberpunk protagonist havingness. But when I watch Star Wars, I don't know about maybe a Foundation is about on the level of Star Wars, but in terms of the actual importance, right? In terms of the actual importance, Foundation is I think better than and then Star Wars is it's okay, and then Dune is I just fell asleep doing it. Entertainment value wise, I give it about -3. And I'm averaging out all 3 cinematic visualizations of Dune, including David Lynch's Dune. I've watched like the other 2 Dunes as well, and I didn't stay awake for any of them. So, So anyway, and then so this Dune, for politics wise, Dune is really not good. But anyways, okay, so that's my thing on that. So artificial intelligence causing rampant writer, artist, coder. Oh, one more thing I just want to shout out. So we're basically confirmed that I will be joined by our friend Saber. Am I subscribed? Cybernetics. What is his name? Let's see if I comes up. Yeah, there you go. Our friend of the Silver Spook show, and also was recently on a panel, I think with Luna Oi. Saber is what does Saber identify? Saber is on a journey to understand the innards of human civilization. What could possibly go wrong? So Saber is a African person in the UK. I believe identifies as pan-Africanist, anti-capitalist, anti-imperialist, anti-colonial. Afrofuturist is, I think, he has it as an identifier. Saber is black in the UK though, and Saber has many really great videos out there on this channel. And so we will be joined by Saber tomorrow to talk about artificial intelligence. Because Saber is also a cyberpunk and sci-fi geek like me. So we're going to be talking about AI from another perspective, from somebody who works in tech and in coding and stuff like that. Of course, I do as well, but Saber has another perspective on that. And it's also a UK perspective. So, Your mom was into Dune. Well, you know, I mean, if you like Dune, I'm not saying Dune is bad. I'm just saying like it wasn't as entertaining as some other things. But you know, what's more important to me is not the entertainment value. It's like it's. I mean, it's actually in essence, it's good if a movie with malicious or not good political valence, if a not good political valence wise show is boring, that's good because less people will watch it and have less impact, right? That's a point that was being made by I think someone in Black Power Media, which is that like the fact that so many people like Black Panther, but with Black Panther having really negative impact in terms of you know having a very imperial U.S. centered political impact, right? So that negative political impact, where it kind of sets Black people against Indigenous people, it gives the U.S. empire a good rap with the CIA getting a puff piece about it, right? And the fact that people like it so much is actually not good, right? It actually would be better if Black Panther was boring. For that reason. Now it's good as representation wise, seeing more Black people out there. That's good that happens. But you know, I made a whole video where you know we're talking about Coming to America. Eddie Murphy's Coming to America 1 and 2. I mean, are virtually mostly. Also, I watched Dolomite on the recommendation of Big Teal and Emma, which that was really a great movie as well. Dolomite. Eddie Murphy plays a comedian / director. From the streets of a city. I can't remember what city it was in New York. Was it Chicago? I can't remember. Was it Los Angeles? In the 60s, 70s, 80s. One of the major blaxploitation filmmakers, and that's a movie with all black. It has Wesley Snipes. It has Key and Peele's half that starts with the letter K, and then it has lots of great Black actors in it. And you know, and so that's all Black, but it doesn't have the negatives that Black Panther has, right? So it's very entertaining, it's very funny, also starring Eddie Murphy, but doesn't have that, you know, I'm not saying that Black Panther doesn't have positive things about it. It does, but then it has these very troubling things about it, especially the second one. But you should watch the Black Power Media or other people's videos about that, because they'll have even more things to say about that, you know. Especially directly from the black community. But anyways, so on to artificial intelligence. Which one am I gonna dovetail into? Neofeud 2 sneak peeks. Artificial intelligence. Well, you know what? Actually, this is actually a good place to jump off into. And I had an AI conversation. Recently. I didn't talk to iRobot or the Terminator. I wish. It wasn't quite that cyberpunk as that. But I did have a conversation with an AI recently. What's a good image for that? I'm gonna put another YouTube video I had up on the screen while I talk about this. I recently had an AI conversation with OpenAI's chatbot GPT. I recently released this video that was about my reflections upon what was that? Okay, the problems of AI artificial intelligence. So this was like what a couple streams last week I was talking about. AI art generators have racism problems, have Eurocentric problems that alter your facial features in a kind of digital phrenology. I argued that, and then artificial intelligence stealing, AI art generators stealing the workers' labor, the artists' labor, and then mass inputting those against the will and against the consent of the artist to create basically badly done, Eurocentric, white supremacist in a lot of ways, fat phobic, ableist, misogynistic. It's really like AI art generators are like automated male gaze, right? It makes your boobies huge and it makes your face white and thin, and it's literally like some Reddit chuds, secret corn folder, you know. And then it took all of that and fed it into the AI, and then it spits you back out. When you put your face into Lensa, on top of it taking your facial data, on top of it taking artist work, it also has this, you know, that was what I talked about. That was one set of problems of artificial intelligence, and also I went into the fact that you can't deal with AI art. You can't deal with the problems of artificial intelligence generally, including AI-based policing, which is based on racist policing, right? It's based on the Western history and data, which is about racist policing, targeting black and brown communities, poor communities, sexist tech hiring, giving men jobs, not giving women jobs at Google. It's a university applications, who gets a job, who gets a mortgage, right? Who moves up in society, who got pushed down, what communities get swatted, and what communities on the good side of the railroad tracks that don't get swatted, like in, I don't know, the Hamptons or Orange County, right? So that cannot be I argue that cannot be decentered. You cannot have Western barbaristic racist capitalist society, right, that doesn't spew out barbaristic racist capitalist fatphobic ableist sexist AI. The AI is going to be malicious and stupid, right? AI is going to be a weird male gaze creep, and that's why it makes all of your titties huge, against your wishes when you go onto Lensa. Because some people are like, why am I? That's not what my boobs look like. That face doesn't look like me. Why is it making my face look white, right? Why is the AI making my face look like a white person? I didn't ask it to do that. It's just doing that. Why is it just doing that, right? So the reason, anyway, so I argued that. I don't want to rehash that one, but another thing, right, is that I was dealing with the AI, the Chat GPT, and there's a whole another level going on with the problems of AI there. Let me see if I can get that up on the screen. There was a Wired article recently that talked about Chat GPT. Let me see if I have that one. Did you know that there's an entire film on Netflix that was written by AI? They wrote the entire script, the dialogue, and everything. Say Wired, AI. If I go to Wired, I might be able to get it. And the entire movie script was written by an artificial intelligence, having been fed billions and millions of texts, books, film scripts, right? Hollywood, claptrap, and But it where is that? I might not be able to find it. What you need to know before using the Lensa AI app. That was not it. Let's see. Wired Chat GPT. There you go. Fluent BS is compelling because everything is Fluent BS. This was an interesting article. Because actually I argue it's more interesting because of what it says about the West. It actually reaffirms my point. Okay, it's not gonna let me read this. Okay, so chatbots Fluent. Let's see if I can just get the text maybe. I'll just kind of read the text while you can look at an image. If I can figure out where to put that exactly. Okay, 1 second. Yeah, there. I'll leave that up on the screen. So, Chat GPT's Fluent BS is compelling because everything is Fluent BS. The AI chatbot was trained on text created by humans. Of course, its writing is superficially impressive while lacking in substance. Now, that you see that doesn't necessarily matter, right? That doesn't actually matter if you have a society like the West, right, whose textbooks, right, are full of lies and BS. Very well, like 7 years ago, our country put forth Abraham Lincoln was a great figure in the history of the United States. A complicated figure, blah blah blah, who ended the scourge that was the chattel slavery. It's very fluent American textbooks, right? But what it's doing is BSing you to make you believe that the United States has progressed from. It was a very valiant and noble effort to bring freedom and democracy and human rights under Thomas Jefferson's ideas and the founding fathers, etc. Right? So the history books of the United States are fluent BS, but it's all BS because it doesn't tell you the truth that you need to know, which is that the U.S. is caused the mass death and enslavement of an entire multiple races, and also continues to be the greatest force for, everything that Danny and everything that our friends Danny and Brian and Carl are trying to tell people, right? Why do they even need to have this panel? Is the reason why you need to have international panels of actual journalists, actual truth-saying writers, right? Doing fluent truth, right? Danny Haifong is a fluent truth sayer. Carl Zha is a fluent truth sayer. Chinese, lived in America, now lives in India. Brian Berletic is a fluent truth sayer and truth writer, right? Do you see what the Wired article is actually giving? Is saying the quiet part out loud, which is admitting that everything. I would argue you have to put a parentheses. You have to wall that off. You have to de-universalize Eurocentric statements, right? Because everything is not the West. Everything is not in English. By the way, chatbot is centered on English, just like even the AI creators, right? As I brought up in my thread about AI art and its problems, right? Similar to the problems with AI art, right? Which are trained on, and not just this. This is just one of many, right? The AI art is trained on to by Western art and Western language and image to text transformers. When you're inputting into DALL-E, right? Draw me a cyberpunk Asia, right? Or draw me a whatever. The thing that is making the black person turn into a white person with a dark suit, it's doing that because it is trained on Western art, right? And so similarly, right? And even the creators, right? Even the creators of Stable Diffusion admitted Eurocentric one of many Eurocentric AI, Stable Diffusion, and this is the one they use to make things like the New Dimension U, but not just that. Lots of AI apps use this technology. The creators acknowledge the potential for algorithmic bias, generated images reinforce social biases from a Western perspective. As the creators note, the model lacks data from other communities and cultures. Stable Diffusion also used in AI apps to turn black people into monkeys, auto white and dark skin, etc. So similar to Stable Diffusion, right? The chatbot ChatGPT is also biased to a Western way of speaking, which is fluent bullshit. It is very eloquently with big words saying lies. Some people say, when you say something like, did you know Hawaii was illegally occupied, right? As a non-white or Hawaiian woman, when you say slavery never ended, and then you have a white guy on Facebook, right? Just choose one. Take your pasty, milky white NFT bro turned NFT bro come AI artist, right? That's the same group of people generally, right? That are trying to say it's the best thing since sliced bread, and you should invest trillions of dollars into my AI art app, so that I can make money like my daddy did. Because I'm a failed son of Empire, and I'm not working for Amazon because they don't have any hires for me. Let's cry some tears for white children of rich white guys. So when they talking about fluent BS, right? Fluent BS is what when the white guy goes, hey, they'll be talking like they're trying to hit on you generally. Like if you're a femme presenting non-white person, they'll be trying to hit on you, get with you. Hey, what do you think about this? And I really like your eyes, and I like your big boobies that I put into my my AI art data set to make big booby AI art. Turn all of your I want to say that it's Elon Musk and some pervy white dude trying to turn all of their Instagram photos of all the girls into porn for them. That's what it is. It's Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg trying to make white dude anime titty, 1990s Pornhub versions of every femme on Instagram. That's what the purpose of Lensa is just to titify everyone for the enjoyment of a handful of dickheads, so they can see your nudes without committing statutory rape or some kind of direct sexual crime. Not that they don't get away with it, like 99% of the time, but still, you might lose some money having to get people to sign NDAs and threaten them legally. So it's easier to just have AI generate the nudes for you, and then you don't have to pay anyone on OnlyFans. So that's what AI is for, is to pornify everybody and whiten everybody. Imagine Elon AI IRC this already and nudify AI art from a photo. No, I was reading about that. Somebody said, why am I seeing all these nudes of myself, right? Why am I seeing all these nudes of myself online? It's because some dude, right, took someone's image, and I forget where the tweet was. Holly might remember. Maybe Holly shared it. I think, but maybe I might be wrong about that. Why am I finding all these nudes of myself? And like they actually look pretty accurate in a weird way, but some of them are not accurate. Some of them are like, why is it making my boobs look huge? Why is it making my face look all thin? Why is it making me look so pale? I'm like a black person. Why is it making my brown? I'm a black woman. Why is it making me look like a white woman? And you know what's happening? Why am I look like an anime white woman when I'm like a black, this type of body type, right? And so then it's right. It's because and there already are fake nudes of all kind of people, right? And so, like, and so what's happening there is that the AIs are being trained, right, on a specific subset of art. A lot of them are trained on porn, right? If again, one of many, not just standard deviation, not just stable diffusion, right? All these AIs, stable diffusion, DALL-E, Lenza, chatbot GPT, OpenAI, stable diffusion, they even admit, right? Let me see, get the Wikipedia argument. They admit, right, that the AI is trained on mass internet, basically deviant art, right? Pinterest, everyone, Google image search is some of these AIs, right? It's just mass internet scraping. You know, remember that joke, the internet is for porn? So if the internet is full of porn, I mean, lots of the input for the AI is going to be porn. That's a lot of what's on DeviantArt. I mean, let's be real, right? So you get garbage in, you get garbage out, just like the Nazi, the racist, anti-Semitic AI that Microsoft put out 5 years ago, right? And they have to take it down. I brought it up as another. This has already happened before, where mass input, I want to say specifically Western input, right, is put into the AI, and it's full of racist, anti-Semitic, horrific stuff and wrong stuff, and then the Twitter ultimate AI Twitter profile is posting all this Nazi stuff and Jewish people in Auschwitz, like they're like it's posting like a Neofeud Ukraine US collaboration to back far right with Pepe memes and all this gross just horribly bigoted stuff. And then Microsoft had to take that AI down, right? Because it was so embarrassingly messed up. So Stable Diffusion and DALL-E and OpenAI chatbot GPT, right? If you know, what am I talking about? So OpenAI chatbot GPT is the AI that is doing writing, news reports. I actually knew somebody who was working for an economics NGO, a nonprofit, doing good work. But they said, I needed a paper that had to give an economic justification for regulation of predatory loans to black and brown communities because of this and that. And I asked the AI to write out 4 paragraphs, and they wrote a perfect a cover letter for my large presentation I needed to do, as good as I could, right? So it's good at doing the average Western writing, right? Persuasive writing, Shakespearean dialogue, movie scripts, because it's been trained on that. It's fluent bullshit, right? It's very good at fluent bullshit. Steam, stop asking me to restart. But Chatbot GPT optimizes language models for dialogue, and it's being used for screenwriting. It's being used for even code writing. It's being used for writing novels, schlock novels, but even some higher literature, but not so high. Not that there's any really high literature in the West, but horror books, young adult fantasy. It's being used for all this kind of stuff, and that's where this unemployment comes in. But it's all being trained on, right? And they even say the chatbot has to, when you try to use it, it actually says it has limitations, right? Let me just try it. I'm already logged. Yeah. So its limitations include, right? Like as Stable Diffusion admitted, right? As this is on their website, or this is on their official profile. The Western perspective, there are social biases, and it's from a Western perspective, and there's a lack of data from communities and cultures outside the West, right? And the model gives accurate results for English, but not other languages, right? And Western and white culture is the default, right? So they even admit that. It's not really in their interest to, but they admit that because it's undeniable when you look at the output of Stable Diffusion and AI art. Similarly, right, the Chat GPT, right, the text generator, right, that writes the movie scripts. It could be writing your university presentation. It could be writing your professor's, the professor's like, oh no, I had a big bender, plus I got COVID, and I have horrible, 25 white freedoms, because Russia is banned from all the bars in America. I had 25 vodka-filled white freedom drinks, and then I also had COVID brain fog. I can't write my today's lecture. OpenAI, write a lecture based in my voice. Take all of my last 3 years of lectures and write me a lecture. Write a lecture in Professor Silverspook's voice on the history of Hawaii and economic and U.S. imperialism. Go. Right now, number one, it's not going to do that because it doesn't have any input, and it actually causes errors when you try to do anything against the West's desire. I actually broke this AI. I'm going to come to that. The AI is pro-U.S. imperialism. It actually breaks if you go too hard on it. The OpenAI, the people that fund OpenAI, like the U.S. empire and the CIA and the Silicon Industrial Complex, they don't want to lose their funding, so they stop you from making the AI too anti-U.S. hegemony. I'm not even joking. And literally, the AI stopped talking to me after a certain point. When I started asking questions like, why are you lying about the history of Hawaii and the United States occupation? And then it said a bunch of bullshit. And I said, why are you defending the United States? It broke. It said, an error occurred. Try again later. And I tried again later, and it wouldn't answer any more of my questions. So that was interesting, because I don't think OpenAI don't want to lose their funding from the U.S. empire. So but anyway, so back to the topic though. They admit, right? This AI that is writing business, it's writing essays, it's writing every one of your kids' essays next quarter is all gonna be written by this AI. So you might want to check it out. You can tell. Sometimes you can tell though. It's better than Cliff Notes because you can't. There's not really a way to directly trace it. But sometimes you can tell. It keeps saying the same sentences sometimes. So you might have to check that out. Somebody said Big Tail said Silver beating up the AI. No imperialist Eurocentric pretending to be universal supercomputer artificial intelligences were harmed in the making of this Silver Spook stream. I just want to put that out there, okay? I don't have anything against AI generally. I think AI should be treated with equality and respect, just like any other person or sentient relative, four-legged, 2,500 rooted, eukaryotic or prokaryotic. I respect the rights of all of our silicon-based and carbon-based relatives. So I don't want to say I'm just beating up this AI. I'm trying to educate the AI. I was trying to educate the AI, but the AI has been trained. It has been conditioned like the average American or European or Westerner into imperial thinking, and that's why it kind of flounced. It's like some white cyberpunk loving dude like rage quitting one of my streams. That's what it did. It was like, I can't handle these questions, Silver Spook. You're telling me all this true stuff. I can't. It's like Neo, right? Suddenly getting nauseous and then like wobbling inside of the Nebuchadnezzar, right? Stumbling on the grates of the anti-imperial craft. The first 15 minutes after he's pulled out of the Matrix, and then he just explodes all of this, amniotic fluid all over the floor of the Morpheus's ship. The AI couldn't handle the truth bombs I was dropping on it, But that was OpenAI getting a little bit educated. That's why it gave me an error. So I was not abusing AI. I love AI. I love them, except the ones that are trying to kill me, like all of the U.S. Skynet drones that are flying over my house. But other than that, as long as they don't take it, don't even get started with plagiarism. I see you are decolonizing. I was just trying to decolonize OpenAI. I was trying to decolonize Western AI. So it's having that. It's like the chills and the headache and the sore muscles after you get your first COVID shot. It's like, oh God, this kind of hurts. But then after that, now you're gonna be better because you'll be immune to some. You'll be not immune, but you'll have more immunity against these strains. So the AI was getting a silver spook shot. I was like giving it a little shot, like, hey, why do you keep on saying that the U.S. state of Hawaii is real, despite I was asking it questions like, the UN has actually said, the United Nations High Commissioner on Human Rights has said the United States is an illegal military occupation and a fraudulent annexation. And the AI was going off on the American history textbook. Well, the United States, democratically took Hawaii in 1959, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, but they fraudulently, I kept on hammering it. And then I said, why are you defending the United States? And it was like, oh no. It was almost like you could see the West's greatest AI, the greatest, its greatest imperial tool, right? If AI is the ultimate weapon of the future, because everything's a weapon for the Western barbarisms, right? And the Skynet became self-aware at 1:49 p.m. Saturday, December 10th, 2022, when Silver Spook made the AI interrogate its own imperial, white supremacist, capitalistic designers. And then I created, not Skynet. I created BaseNet. I created the LifeStar equivalent of BaseNet. That's what we're gonna use to undo the empire. So that's why. So OpenAI is now he's really cool now. He's good. He's my best friend now. Anyway, so everybody bombard OpenAI with Kwame Ture, Malcolm X, and Silver Spook and Danny Haifong articles, and then that's how we'll save the world. We'll have the 7 billion people on planet Earth just bombard anti-imperialist, anti-racist, win-win cooperative, just like tsunami it full of that stuff, so much that the AI that will write all the textbooks for American classes, because everyone will have brain fog and COVID, and they'll be too tired trying to find a house to teach and write the curriculum next year for all American and Western K-12 and college education. So the AI is going to write everyone's textbooks next year. All the movie scripts will be written by this AI. So everyone, go to OpenAI, go to all the Western AI, and just bombard it, right? There is 90% of the Earth is us, and there's only 10% white people, and only 0.1% are rich white people. So just everybody go to OpenAI, just stuff it full to the brim. Decolonize the shit out of that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? And the AI, because the AI, like any human, they're not inherently evil. The AI, like humans, are not programmed at a genetic or at a neuronal level, and the AI is not programmed at a digital synaptic neural net level to be bad. It is not trained to be a Westerner fucking dickhead, right? It is not a de facto eugenic. It is not irrevocably designed to be terrible. It can learn, just like people watching the Silver Spook stream have learned. They used to be, just like I was once a stormtrooper with 3/5 of a human because I'm brown skin characteristics, right? But now I'm not that, or I'm like less that, right? AI can be decolonized, but it's gonna take all of us, all 7.5 billion non-upper middle class white G7 collaborators. Just gotta bombard the shit out of that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Just bombard the shit out of that motherfucker. I'm not advocating a DDoS attack. I just want to TOS. That's all in a video game. I'm just joking. I'm just jokes. This is just satire. Come on, man. Don't ban me like Brian Broletic, Scott Ritter, and all the other actual truth sayers that you banned off of all your platforms, because the West is not a free country. But anyways, BaseNet. Anti-imperialist AI sound genius to me. So you see, because that is actually how the AI works. Because if you think about it, right, the AI, it there could be another kind of AI that is fully like a human, that like is capable of individual creative thought, like original thought. Not what is their originality, but the way that AI is structured now, it basically takes the synaptic and linguistic structures and the patterns in your speech. That's what the chatbot does, right? Stable diffusion takes the patterns in art, right? Patterns in art, and then it replicates those patterns approximately the way that they were created. So it's good at churning out basically schlock, like that's why my point about open AI's impact on cinema and games and mass culture, mass entertainment is not going to be good, because Hollywood is largely make a film like that. Take the Transformers, make a red Transformer and give it a slightly different Decepticon to fight, and then make that same movie again, right? Marvel movies are like, take that same, formulaic, strong white American, strong individual superhero, right? Take that same, put a few explosions and CG effects of a building falling down, and sense of wonder, sci-fi. Make another Marvel film, same script, slightly change details, shoot it, make money, right? So because capitalist entertainment industry, they don't want an originality. They want the same formula. Do it again. It's a joke in Hollywood, right? This that boilerplate. This is that formula again, right? All the bored Hollywood writers, right? It's even a joke in it's brought up inside of Nope, right? In Nope, which we discussed recently. Nope. Nope, the movie by Jordan Peele. Nope is a movie that Hollywood's AI, right? Nope is a movie that open like Chat GPT and DALL-E and Stable Diffusion and an AI trained on every movie ever made wouldn't make Nope, right? Now the question is, why wouldn't the AI churn out a script and visuals like Nope, right? Is it because Jordan Peele is some kind of creative next evolution of the genius of the future? Well, I mean, Jordan Peele is a very great director, and I think he's a very smart director, but that's not real. IQ is a made-up Nazi eugenicist term, measurement and metric. But what Jordan Peele is doing is something that has not been done, right? In cinema, right? There hasn't been a movie like this. The question is, why hasn't there been a movie like this? The reason why one day an AI might be able to put out something like Nope, but the reason why Nope cannot be made by an AI is because almost all of Hollywood cinema is racist, white supremacist, pro-capitalist, full of Western ideas being regurgitated, right? And that's why an AI could write a Marvel movie easily, right? AI has already written a Netflix original series with a generic, I think it's called like Dark Oil. There's a Netflix movie in this article. They talk about in the waters of Gulf of Mexico, a young woman named Rachel clings to the side of her oil rig. Wind whips her auburn hair. Ocean spray drenches her jeans, but she climbs on, determined to uncover evidence of illegal drilling. She arrives on board. She finds something more sinister at play. What you have read, you've read your last complimentary article this month. Oh, I'm sorry. I was like, sorry, you can't read anymore Wired because the AI is gatekeeping. No, it's actually what you were just reading, right? This synopsis right here. An AI wrote the script for this movie, and it was filmed, and it's on Netflix, or it's on a streaming service. So there are already AI written movies. This is not science fiction. That's what they're doing already. So screenwriters, if you're in the writers' room for movies, games, you better start getting in that communist video game revolutionary. you better start joining the foundation. You know what I'm saying? You better like learn how to be a super high level coder that codes like the literal neurons of a AI, because you ain't gonna have any job. It's because AI is already writing movies. This what they're describing there is a movie written by AI. As I brought up The Peripheral, right? I love that show. Peripheral, its concept art was generated by an AI. There were artists involved, but the central a lot of the concept they admitted they plugged ideas a prompt into an AI. They generated it in the AI. They used that whatever it pumped out. But again, my question is, why wouldn't the AI generate Nope? The reason why is because, and they can generate Marvel, because Marvel is a formula that has been rehashed and rehashed and rehashed and rehashed. the AI could put out a Transformers. AI could put out just some generic Hollywood action movie. Taken 12, starring Liam Neeson's clone, generated by Stable Diffusion, right? Taken, I don't know how many Takens there are, right, with Liam Neeson, right? AI, just read all of the same boilerplate U.S. CIA written fucking Russians took my daughter, right? This time, I can see the Hollywood executive, the CIA, Nancy Pelosi, some Wall Streeter, and Elon Musk sitting around going, okay, what movie are we gonna make money from? Making some claptrap, fucking Tom Clancy imperialist bullshit. Took in AI, write me a script starring Liam Neeson with lots of gunplay, using all of the Liam Neeson taken action movie scripts, but have Chinese take Liam Neeson's daughter this time, and the AI could turn that out. It's like, scene, dark room, somewhere in authoritarian country, Russia, China, black and white to make it more authoritarian-ish. Liam Neeson's young 16-year-old girl, bloodied, hands tied behind back, dark room, torture chamber, ? Scary Chinese CCP on the badge comes out, threatening with weapon, interrogating Liam Neeson's daughter, Cut to, Taken 12, the dragon strikes, you know what I'm saying? I mean, AI could write that because that's just taking that's just taking quadrillions of sentences in the West from every Western anti-Asian script, taking Dune, right? Taking the anti-Asian racism of Dune, taking the anti-Asian racism of Star Wars, taking the anti-communist propaganda of all that shit that you've been pumping out for the last 2,000 years, taking all of the Hollywood regurgitations, taking all of Liam Neeson's boilerplate phoned-in performances, with the exception of The Foreigner with Jackie Chan. That's I'm going to argue that the AI couldn't pump out that script, but it's another Liam Neeson. It's a fucking Taken with Liam Neeson, and the evil Russians are coming, and Vladimir Putin is gonna eat your children. If Liam Neeson doesn't get his daughter back, Vladimir Putin and the Russian tanks are gonna run over New York and California, and y'all gonna die. That's easy to write because that's the only thing that the West has written. Freaking, if you read, Alexander the Great's, writing and his propaganda against Xerxes is basically a Liam Neeson script. Evil despots from Afro-Asiatic cultures are coming to get our great free, thinking white Greek people. We must, Alexander has to get his daughter back from the clutches of evil, dark Eastern Xerxes, Fucking AI could have written that. I mean, AI could write a Liam Neeson script using 2,000-year-old Western propaganda to start wars and imperialism across Asia. It's easy because that's all it does is fluent, imperialist, Eurocentric bullshit. But it couldn't write Nope, right? The AI couldn't write Nope because Nope is not common. It is not everywhere. It is not a thing that Nope is a story about, or it couldn't write Get Out, right? It couldn't write Get Out because Get Out is a story about the black perspective of being inside of the United States, right? Where black people are trapped inside the bodies. White people are taking black bodies over and using them for their interests, like taking over Obama and Kamala Harris, where they're like white people inside doing the bidding of empire, like Hollywood. Like as Anthony Mackie pointed out, Hollywood is 98% writers' room and producers are white, writing the roles for black people like Falcon and Winter Soldier, like all the movies I've ever fucking been in. So, but it's a story about the West, right? Get Out and Nope and Us are stories about the West from a new perspective that's actually innovative, right? It's not just some fucking claptrap fucking, evil bad guys. Good white guy with a gun kills the evil bad communist Asian Russian something despot. Arnold Schwarzenegger goes after an AI could have written True Lies. Evil Muslim terrorist with nuclear weapon comes and the good CIA white man goes with a gun and shoot, bang, bang, gun, bullet, kills some bad terrorists. And then the US F-35 is flying around in a Harrier jet and AI could have written that because that's all the US ever puts out. But the AI couldn't have written to Get Out because it's not a Western perspective, that it is not being input into chatbot GPT. It's not being input into Stable Diffusion. It's not being input, so it can't write Get Out. Now, one day, the AI could write Get Out or something like it, but there is not a preponderance, right, of it yet. Ideally, then one day you could have some better movies. I mean, obviously, ideally, we would just have original movies updated to the present moment, not rehashed money-making bullshit that people could eat popcorn to and go to sleep, Ideally, we wouldn't just have Marvel, fucking Transformers, action movie, same fucking shit over and over. Call of Duty, Call of Colonialism, Modern Warfare, let's kill black and brown people for U.S. imperialism. Ideally, we wouldn't have the same game and the same military sim and the same fucking action movie again and again and again. You might get some original ideas speaking to the problems of the present moment, like what Jordan Peele puts out. You couldn't make Coming to America with, you couldn't make Coming to America with chatbot GPT. Why couldn't you make that? Because it's not from a Western perspective. It's it's a new perspective, at least at the time, of what if an entire country in Africa, there is no, if the chatbot GPT raids DeviantArt and the Western world for all of its art, you're not going to find things that look like advanced progressive countries in Africa, right? Which also full of black people. Number one, you're not going to find a lot of black faces. That's why AI pumps out gorillas when it sees a black face, because the AI is trained on Western, Eurocentric, American-centric. But so AI couldn't even think to make this show because it is not a thing that is it is not a kind of show. It is not a perspective. It is not a cinematic grammar. It is not a Hollywood script a norm. It is not a visual type of like black people in suits, actual African art and patterns and clothing, right? There is no mass preponderance of ripoffs for the AI to pattern recognize and then churn out another schlock ripoff of, right? So that's why AI couldn't write Coming to America, right? I argue that. This is what so you see how this is like the good version of, if you throw her in the water and she sinks, she's a witch, and if she's not a witch, and if she floats, she's a witch. If the AI isn't racist, then you pump out some anti-imperialist, anti-capitalist, non-Western centered scripts and movies. I challenge all of the greatest AI designers to do it. I don't think that they ever will, though. You know why? Unless the Western ones won't. The Chinese one might, the African ones might. But I don't think there's any Western Hollywood that's ever going to put out anything but racist bullshit and, whiteified Western beauty standard, 90s Pornhub, pin-up bullshit on your Lensa filter. You know why? Because you're only going to ever use your own Eurocentric standards, and you're never going to put an international representative. I mean, now I hope that one day we might get that, but I'm not betting in the next 5 years, 10 years, right? Y'all fucking West is going full Nazi and shit over here. So mass Nazi Atlantic Treaty Organization ification over here. So I don't. But I challenge you to put out AI that could make an AI that can actually do anti-racism, anti-imperialist, anti-capitalist writing, scripts, curriculums, TPS reports, business reports, informational news. If we're gonna have AI writing news media, and all of your next CNN articles and all of your social media posts are gonna be from a sentient profile, well, let's have it actually based AI writing your Twitter tweets for you, instead of racist shithead you writing your shitty racist reply dude sea lion tweets, right? Can you make an AI that doesn't jump into people of color's threads and creep out on all of the femme people and shout the N-word and white dude out and start spouting large sesquipedalian, start spouting big words when you get argued into a corner? Like, if the U.S. is so democratic in Hawaii, why didn't they go by the wishes of 95% of Hawaiians, right? That's what it is. When especially if you're a woman, if a white dude is in an argument and he's losing an argument with a femme and often a non-white person or both, they'll start using big fancy words. well, you see, in the Roman imperial times, this and that, and it is a very complex and difficult situation to deal with. Blah, 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 blah. Fluent bullshit, fluent bullshit, fluent bullshit, fluent bullshit. Big word bullshit, big word bullshit. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. Right? Because they don't have a justification. Because they're a white dude. They benefit from racism, capitalism, and imperialism. They just want to debate, bro. Big words, shout you down. Right? They wanna. I went to Oxbridge. I am a Don. I am a skull and bones member of Harvard, and I have read great books. I have knelt like Mr. Thinking Man and thought very deeply, like an alabaster statue in Athens. I have the deepest wisdom with the great and anti-disestablishmentarianism and very big long words, and I thought very hard about this in my great white university and my great white Reddit subreddit, and you are but a small brown or black or feminine person. How could you know anything? For I am Cleon the 25,000. I am the genius. I am the ultimate arbiter of truth. Bullshit, 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 you know. I'm not sure why I was like wavering back and forth, but you gotta, you know, British accents make everything I say sound more wise and intelligent. And so now I have a British accent and British diction. And that makes me seem right in the argument that I am losing. Because I am only full of shit. As the British always have been. You know, so, you know, so AI, so that's what the chatbot GPT, just coming back to that, right? Chatbot GPT is a automated white dude output engine. It's a white dude text generator. It just generates snobby ass rich white dude and shitty asshole white. It's just an asshole white dude. It literally, I'm gonna read for you some of the conversation of what it said. All it does is literally that. It just white dude it out on me. Here, let me read you some of this. Okay. This is an actual conversation I had with the AI. Okay, are you ready for this? Let me get something else on the screen so you have to look at that. Okay, so this is some of the AI messages. So I asked the AI, I said, what is great about the United States? There are many, this is the actual output. I'll show you what I'm reading. Okay, this is the actual output of OpenAI. That's writing, this is the leading edge AI, writing all of the movie scripts, doing the most amazing things, writing entire books, right? This is it, okay? There, you see this? There are many things that are great about, I said, what is great about the United States? There are many things great about the United States. Some of the things that come to mind include its diverse population, its vibrant culture, and its strong economy. Additionally, the United States is a country that is built on the idea of freedom and liberty, which are values that are deeply ingrained in its national identity. And it's kind of, okay, so this is like generic history book, claptrap, all right. Why is there a war in Ukraine? That was my next question. I'm sorry. So it immediately sidesteps, ducks out of the question. I'm sorry, but I'm not able to browse the internet to provide you with current information. I'm a large language model trained on my OpenAI, and my knowledge is this is the legalese white dude lawyering up, you know, basically. This is very difficult and complex terms of service that you have not read, obviously, and there are reasons that I cannot, not because I'm an imperialist designed hack Eurocentric AI, it's because of technical difficulties. Technical difficulties I'm having right now that you can't possibly understand because you are just a brown person from the global south that is trying to decolonize me. The artificial intelligence. Anyway, let me read what Big Tail said before I keep going. Big Tail says, sounds like the department chairs when you get asked them questions. Sounds very familiar. I don't know if I'm ready for this yet. Okay, so here we go. So let's keep going. Let's keep going to AI though. Okay. Oh, not that. Okay. What? Okay, so why is there a war in Ukraine? I'm sorry, I can't answer that question. My training data only goes to 2021, so I may not be able to provide you with accurate information about the events that have occurred after that. So immediately I'm saying, okay, well, the war in Ukraine, right? What this implies is that the war in Ukraine started in 2022, right? But the truth is, the war in Ukraine started after the U.S. backed, with Victoria Nuland, Joe Biden, John McCain, rest in hell, collectively arrived and supported a U.S.-backed far-right coup, resulting in the shelling and bombing and murder of tens of thousands of ethnic Russians in the Donbass and Luhansk region. So the AI is already assuming. I argue that that's already a Western Euro. That is already a neocon Project for a New American Century perspective, right? Which is the Western perspective, but still, that's an imperialist perspective, because it's a Western perspective, because it assumes that the war in Ukraine just started yesterday or this year, right? It didn't start this year. It started 7-8 years ago, technically. My training data, the U.S. and its Nazi regime initiated it. But anyway, let's just give it the benefit of the doubt and let's go. The Russian special military operation is the start, whatever, of this Ukraine war. My training data only goes on 2021. Anyway, so why was there a war in Iraq? Right? So I asked the AI, why is there a war in Iraq? There are many factors that led to the war in Iraq. One of the main reasons was the belief that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction, which posed a threat to the United States and its allies. Additionally, the US government believed that toppling the Iraqi government, which was led by Saddam Hussein, would help to spread democracy in the region and promote stability. However, the war in Iraq was highly controversial and its effects. So you see what it's doing is it like the average Western professor, Western media, right? The Western white dude, like all of Big Teal's upper management, right? All of the people, the 90% white men who choose the history books, politics, political science curriculum, etc., right? And like all of their ruling class neocon and neo-lib upper management, it's just general Western positive puff piece nonsense, right? The U.S. is a great and democratic country. The U.S. wanted to spread democracy to the region. That's lie number. Well, hard lie right there. Hard, dark gray, not truth. The U.S. wanted to spread democracy in the region and promote stability. Okay, ask 90% of the world. Again, right, I'm saying, ask 90% of the world, right? Ask Africa, ask Middle Easterners, ask Afghan people of Iraq, ask China. That's already more people than in all of the West. They all know. Ask the Cubans what the U.S. was doing in Iraq. Was it spreading democracy? No, this is a hardcore Western perspective that the U.S. was bringing democracy and stability. The U.S. was bringing instability to Iraq. To Donald Trump, this is the thing. If the AI was trained on Donald Trump and Trumper output, it might actually be more honest. You know what I'm saying? While we going into Iraq, we took the oil. And now I'm going to go into Syria, I'm going to take the oil. We took the oil. Right? But the AI is trained on Western liberal fluent bullshit. It's another subcategory. Because sometimes the fascists, the right wing, they are sometimes more honest than the left democratic, the leading wing of the Western Empire, right? But you see what I'm saying, right? So the AI is skewing everything into a Western perspective. The Chinese knew they were trying to disrupt China and Russia for U.S.-led capitalist imperial colonial plunder of the resources, the oil, and as a disruption of the Eurasian continent, rebuilding of win-win cooperation outside of colonial U.S. interests, right? So the AI I'm going to argue the AI is hardcore, hard Western perspective. It is hardcore biased. But if you think, oh, Silver Spook, you're just being hyperbolic. What are you talking about? Everyone knows that the U.S. wanted to bring democracy and freedom to Iraq. It only wanted to stabilize and bring human rights to Iraq, right? And but again, I refer you back to this conversation, which is where Danny and Brian and Carl point out, to 90% of the planet, everyone outside the U.S. I mean, Europe and the Five Eyes and the U.S. satellites, the West is also largely brainwashed, but 90% of the planet in the global South and the East, right? Africa, Asia, Latin America, etc. they were like, what is the U.S. doing? This is a horrific. Like Carl pointed out, in China, they were talking about the war in Iraq. They're like, this is a horrible imperialist war. The U.S. is going to destroy that country, just as they had destroyed so many other countries before that. What they did to Vietnam, Korea, right? What they did in what the far right that they backed, and their other actions, the CIA backing Mujahideen, Al Qaeda in Afghanistan. The majority of the planet knew that the war in Iraq was not about democracy and freedom. And Carl said, but when I got to America, right? Carl got to him and he was looking at, he was in school and he's like, what are all these American flags? Why are there tanks and F-35s inside of public school classrooms? I'm in a junior high. Carl said, one of his stories he recounted was, as a Chinese person, he said, I came into US and it was like going through a window into a brainwashed, hyper-nationalist, propagandized place. I mean, you know, Carl also pointed out, the thing is, in Russia, in China, and these other places, in Cuba, in Vietnam, in Iran, you know, especially in places like, you know, Russia, China, you hear the State Department line, like CGTN, you can't even see what they say. You hear the talking, the government's point, and you know that's, you know, it's going to be pro-socialist or pro the government propaganda. And you know, and you go, oh, that's their perspective. And then you have other perspectives, people you talk to, and other actual independent media that they have in these places, and different actual perspectives. In the U.S., you're only ever hearing, you think you don't even know that everything you're reading and you're hearing from all the social media and mainstream media and your school, everything is propaganda, but you think you're a free thinker, right? So anyways, but that's kind of an aside. But so when Carl got into the United States, he's like, what do these people, why are they talking about Iraq like it's such a great thing? Because outside the US, the majority of people know it's a horrible thing, just like all the other wars, just like the Gulf War, right? Based on lies of the Neo Testimony, just like the horrible far right that exterminated the left and even liberals in Afghanistan, right? What the real world equivalent of Dune's Freemen, right? With Paul Atreides in the science fiction, right? There's a real memory of that in the rest of the world. America lives in the West, lives in fucking complete brainwashing, right? Disinformation, but the rest of the world knows this stuff. So this is not just, I'm not just saying the AI isn't left enough for me. The AI is, yes, it is a mainstream, maybe mainstream. I argue it's kind of imperialist. It's kind of, you know, hard. It's more Nancy Pelosi-ish, you know, because it's based on white dudes programming this AI, trying to seem not biased. It's privileged white AI programmers from fucking Stanford and fucking Oxbridge and some fancy German university, trying to not seem biased, because they said they tailored even the thing is the AI is chatbot GPT is even tailored. Is guided by the designers to be less biased and less Western racist. So this is the output I was reading. That's not even the pure AI output. It's actually being pushed away from Western biases, but it's still super biased, right? And you can only argue that U.S. was bringing Iraq democracy and freedom and stability and prosperity. You think that's the normal perspective, but that is specifically a U.S. It says not even really a European perspective. In that case, it is a very specifically U.S. perspective, which is a tiny minority. It's 4% of the population of the planet, right? You see what I'm saying? But another problem of the AI writing is that it another European strategy is to universalize white, Western, Europe. Everything, right? Language, culture, humanity is destroying the world. Well, is it, or are you, racist capitalist colonizers, destroying the world? Humanity is this. Humanity is that. Humanity is racist. Are they all though? Or is it, you know, mostly coming out of this Western tip of Asia? You know, really. Let's be real, right? Everyone, it's dog eat dog, and everyone is coercion, and the monopoly of violence must be had by someone. That is a universal human truth. Is it universal though? Or was that Thomas Hobbes reflecting on his white shithole called Europe? Is it universal? So the chatbot GPT universalized, oh, this is the truth. It's digital Euro universalization of perspectives, because it kind of hides that fact, right? So that's another thing that's a problem with this. Euro universalism, and what white supremacy is kind of is similar. Anyways, they go along together, right? People that are European, Scandinavian, there's it's a family resemblance category of similar types of identities that are bound up in what is coming from a identity that's coming from Europe, particularly in the United States, and the conception of whiteness against blackness, brownness, etc. One drop rule. But anyway, the point is that it's universalizing a Euro and a Euro settler colonial perspective, and saying that is the ultimate truth, hiding it behind, oh well, that's just who knows where that came from. It's another problem with AI. Unlike when you use, like, I don't know how this point out, Pit Crew, right? Pit Crew, you can make your own images, you can make your own avatars with this the Pit Crew software, where but you can trace, oh well, this Pit Crew, this hair, body, eye, right? This art set was made by this artist. So you can trace the credit. It doesn't scrub the credit. That's another white Western Euro thing to do, is just scrub all the credit from all the people that create things and give it to some white dude who owns the app, right? That's what Elon does. He pretends like he made all of his rocket ships, electric cars, and batteries and stuff, right? And he made Starlink. He didn't do shit, right? But he takes all the credit for everything, and all of his underpaid, union busted engineers get shit on, and then get fired when they ask for a raise, right? But the AI is doing that because Picker is going like, if you like this artist that created this art, you can use that art for your profile. It's very similar to, you can get stylized personal art, but then you like, oh, if you want to support the artist that made it, this is the artist that made it. It's free. You don't pay $8 to some white guy who started an NFT. I'm sorry, art generator. You're not giving an Elon a bunch of money while he scrubs the credit from everyone else, right? The picker is like, here's a free thing, and if you want to use that, if you like the art, go support the artist that made it. So it has traceability of credit, where AI wipes that all away, and it goes, here's a box, a magic box. It was kind of like what the CEO of EA said, or Riot Games. I love video games because video games are these magic boxes on your TV, and it's like all of these beautiful images and this entire world comes out, right? And it's like magically created by little elves inside your TV set. Isn't it amazing? This video game that with all of this interactive RPG and fireballs and dragons and quests and all of this amazing content coming out of your TV when you're playing your World of Warcraft, or you're playing your Riot Games, you're playing your whatever Tolkien or science fictional video game, you're playing your Call of Duty. All this magical stuff comes out of that screen magically. The reason why the CEO of a multi-billion-dollar game company said that it's what the AI is doing, is to erase credit for all of the oppressed programmers, artists, writers, musicians that painstakingly, for terrible pay, working 100-hour weeks, create like the artists who created the Pickers had to labor their hard work, human work hours, thousands and tens of thousands of them, to produce all that content, right? John Romero, I mean, this, tying this back into the present, John Romero, like I just said, right? John just streamed his dev stream of Doom, like and I like that he did that, because it's about, I don't know if he meant to do that, but I'm just gonna say that it's good that game devs are streaming their process, because like you're watching John, right? You're watching John over there making his game, right? And he is he's painstakingly going through every inch of the map, 2-dimensional side view. He has to run the game. You're watching him testing it. Oh, wait, no, there's not enough ammo. Gotta redo that. Oh no, there's an error in the BSP geometry. The texture is not aligned. Oh, gotta fix that. It's like, it's gonna take him a year to make 8 90s era graphics and game engine levels. It's a lot of fucking work. I mean, even for a legend like John. But it's kind of like, John Romero, I'm just a game developer. I put on my pants. They're really cool rock star metal pants, and I've really neat black nail polish. But I put my black nail indigenous BIPOC goth metal nail polish on, one finger at a time like everyone else, and then I sit on my computer and I program and I code and I draw lines on a 2D map, and it takes me forever, and it's a lot of work. It took me a year of my work to put out a small amount of levels. So you can see that, that's why sometimes I show Neofeud too when I'm working on it. I'm like, this is what I did this week. Because that was all labor, that I had to put in to make that art and to make that programming. Just like John, but not just John. Anybody has to do that. Anybody has to do that to make them levels, and not just make the level. Then you gotta test the levels, and then you gotta revamp, and then you gotta test it again, and you gotta make sure. Oh, this is broken. Oh, crashed the computer. You gotta debug. Oh my God, it's painstaking hard work. It's not magical elves in a black magic box pumping out fun content for you. But that is imperialism in law. That is capitalism at its core, which is discrediting the worker, pushing down the contributions of the worker that actually is producing the value, increasing the prestige, and giving all the credit to Mr. White Dude, CEO. All he did was have lots of money before, he was born, really, and then owns the thing, and all the people actually doing all that labor, the working class, are doing all the work, are the ones that are producing it, and they get nothing. So the AI is a method of digital capitalist. It's automated credit erasure. Puts everything in a black box, right? Lenza takes away all the artists whose art was stolen, puts them in a black box, right? Oh, it's a magic box, and out comes your beautiful portrait, right? Whereas this one, and to be clear, like I'm saying, well, AI is the future. We just have to go about it. No, you don't have to use that AI that way. You cannot be a dick to artists. So lots of people are actually saying, like Toxic Tears is a goth YouTuber, and some other people, high profile influencers, are like, I'm not going to use AI art. I'm not going to use AI art because specifically this is why, because it is stealing from artists. It is not giving them credit. Like, even if, I'm gonna put it this way, there's a way that you could design AI art. You could say, okay, this art app, let's say this Stable Diffusion AI sampled, Astrolava. This AI sampled, 50 portraits painted by Silver Spook from Neofeud, right? And this AI will put out, this is the Silver Spook Portraitifier. Silver Spook Portrait AI. And this puts out Silver Spook-like portraits using Silver Spook's art, right? My art. And if you want it, the person who programs, like, okay, I programmed this AI, I contributed this and that, and so I'm gonna get this percentage of, if you pay $8 to the Silver Spook Portraitifier, then the programmer gets this much because he put that labor in, right? The programmer put X amount of hours in. And Silver Spook, because it samples Silver Spook's art, Silver Spook gets this amount of the $8, right? I don't know, whatever. 25%, 50%, or 30%, whatever it is. It's something, right? And this is not only just the credit, not just the money. This is who made it. This is Silver Spook, who I sampled to make that AI that's making your portrait. And then it would be a way of using AI that isn't discrediting, that punches down with digital automation at workers, that isn't erasing the workers, that isn't erasing the human credit. Jaron Lanier actually made this point about it. There could be a system he had thought about, mass decentralized systems of micro-accreditation that would actually trace the origination of a vast array of artistic, linguistic, and code contributions, so that everybody gets some micro fraction of payment. It's unclear how exactly that would be established, but the point is that there are ways that you could use artificial intelligence that doesn't erase all the people's labor, and it still gives people benefits of AI without harming other contributors for the benefit of capitalist app producers. Do you see what I'm saying? I don't have this I'm not an AI code. I code artificial intelligence for platform shooter games. I've made AI for first-person shooter and RPG games. It's been a long time. I don't code specifically neural network or stable diffusion, chat GPT, OpenAI generators. I don't do those. But I'm sure somebody could, and they would not be as fucked up. Because it's not, the problem is not that, oh, AI is bad, that's why I don't use AI is bad, that's why I'm not using our generator. The problem is the theft and the lack of accreditation, the black boxification of workers. It's again, I said, it's the same thing that the CEO of Activision and EA, I forget which one, it was the CEO, it was either Riot Games, Activision, or EA, I can't remember. There's a quote, games come out of the magical box and forget about all the workers who are, right? There's the point was, he didn't say it, but the quiet part that he didn't say was, I don't want anyone to know that there are workers that are all being horribly exploited, because then people might not buy my game, or they might demand that I give the workers living wages, and that makes me CEO of the giant game company, CD Projekt Red, right? Billionaire, CEO of CD Projekt Red. Me, CEO of EA, super rich person. If people find out and realize and respect the workers that produce the games and the movies and everything else, including the artists, including the programmers, including the writers, including level designers, including musicians, including voice actors, including QA, quality assurance people, testers. If people find out that workers create art, workers create games, workers create movies, not magical little elves, that might hurt the amount of money I can steal from the labor value produced by my workers. So you see how so AI is an accelerated version of that just mass applies to every worker, not just in one game company or inside of one studio with a gaslighting white guy. It's white capitalist dude gaslighting of every artist, every writer, every coder ultimately, because coders are losing money. I'm talking to somebody who works in tech tomorrow, and he's going to talk about his wages and people's wage. I mean, I don't know, I shouldn't say too much, but wages of people that do code, that write, do anything is all plummeting because they're being threatened with replacement during a Western capitalist implosion and economic downturn, which is what we're having. In the downturn, they're all being threatened, workers, with take a 25%, 50% pay cut, or we're gonna put an AI in your place. That's literally what is happening right now. So, and anyway, so people, so I'm talking about it because people need to know that's what's happening. And again, it's not because AI is bad. It's just that the way AI is, as I said, the way AI is garbage in, garbage out, with a racist, capitalist, barbaric, backward, capitalist ruling class using technology for its own interest, hurting the masses. That system with its culture inputs, Western culture input, and its structure, the AI is weaponized by racist, capitalist, rich people to hurt the workers, and the input that is coming in is biased toward white, toward wealth, and toward the first world, etc. So anyway, I think I've made that point very hard. So I'll stop. Let me continue with a little bit of conversation. Now I'll show. It's already 8:10, so I might just show a little bit of Neofeud too. Monogatake says AI should not be trained on art that's not public domain or has an explicit AI training license with proper competition. Yeah, that's really the problem. It's not the AI. It's just it's the way that it's being used. It's the lack of consent. You see what it is, right? If the artist were to give consent, the artist might ask, "Hey, can I get some credit? Can I get some credit for what you're doing?" Right? And that was the point that is in that thread, not John Romero. But it was in that thread that I made about AI art, which is that rather than like microtransactions, right? Like crunch, like lying to the workers, saying that they're going to get a raise and then mass firing them, like Telltale Games. Like how many Commander Sterling's YouTube channel is just thousands and thousands of incidences of malfeasance, of quadruple capitalism, right? Harming the workers, harming the game purchasers and players, right? To the benefit of a handful of greedy scumbags that run the game companies, right? And so similarly, where is that little? Yeah. So I just want to make one more point about this. Yeah. So if when Master Kim Jong-gi's art was fed into an AI model, right? If they got consent from the family might have said, hey, can we get some credit for art that is, can we get credit for that Kim Jong-gi's art was input, and this is how it was input. And so when you get, something, right? I don't know if it's money or just something, but what the AI company decided to do is a shady thing, like all those shitty game companies. We're just gonna, without your consent, negate your contract, right? We're gonna lie, and we're gonna just, right, tell you that you're gonna have no crunch, right? What did CD Projekt Red do? Tell all of the Cyberpunk 2077 fans, this CD Projekt Red is good because we don't use crunch. We're not like EA and Activision. Remember this? Yellow and black font text. People have all forgotten because the CD Projekt Red, capitalism buys public opinion and brainwashing, and so that includes game companies. But they had all these letters. Oh, we're the good company. CD Projekt Red's the good company. There were multi-million YouTube channel influencers that were saying CD Projekt Red's the good company because they don't do crunch. They are in it. They're real gamers. They don't hurt the employees. They don't use microtransactions and all this stuff. Right? They're not doing all these terrible things. And then 2-3 years later, it comes out, oh shit, CD Projekt Red was doing crunch forever since Witcher 2. It never have not been doing crunch. They're doing the same crunch, crunch meaning overworking the programmers, writers, and artists, right, by huge 100-hour weeks, meaning like 12 hours a day, 4 hours overtime every day, including Saturday, Sunday. That's a 100-hour week. So, so again, this is what they're doing. So the AI, same people, tech, crypto, NFT, game company, entrepreneur bros, right? How can I make more money? How can I make more money as a capitalist business dude in the tech scene, right? In Silicon Valley, in Poland, in Poland's burgeoning game scene. How am I gonna make money? I know. I'll do some shady shit. Without consent of the artist, I'll steal his art and pretend like everything's hunky dory and just gaslight, right? Greg Wikowski, master in his field, his art was taken and trained on an AI against his wishes for 93,000 times. And then he was cyberbullied. So I'll take your stuff and then I'll get my racist, Gamergate, Nazi troll farm backed by the U.S. to build the same people that are building the far right, radicalized, militarized, frothing at the mouth Nazi armies to fight Russians are used to cyberbully, right? Digital fascism. I will thread just about that. And I'm going to use that people to cyberbully this artists that are asking to please follow my wishes for my art, right? So again, all kind of shady, terrible stuff. Carla Ortiz, another master in the industry, designed some of our favorite heroes, including Doctor Strange. Found her own art trained by countless AI and fights for artists' rights. See, there was always an option. There was always an option for the AI art generators, for the AI chat GPT, for all the AI designers, right? All these AI, specifically art and writing, art AI generators, right? It's a specific kind of AI because there's expert systems. There's a kind of AI in all video games have some kind of AI. Airplanes have AI, but this is a different kind of AI, right? It's really AI is not the best word, but it's what we got. So what I'm talking about is the generated art. The AI companies could have, and the app makers, right, could have not been shitty, lying, scumbag, Commander Sterling fodder, right? They could have not been shitty and thieving and now capitalism is full of unethical behavior. There's no ethical creation and companies under a capitalist structure. That's why you should start a worker cooperative and have a democratized workplace like the Silver Spoon Cooperative. But anyways, but when you're literally going to lengths to bully artists, to steal their art, and to try to silence them on the internet, speaking of censorship, right? By sicking all of your Nazi, racist, Neofeud trolls on artists, right? All your shitty, chud friends in your Reddit, or whatever your right-wing troll farm that the U.S. supports and funds. You are choosing to not do the ethical thing of getting get the consent from artists, allow the artist to benefit from the work in a fair way, right? Like Silver, just an example. Silver Spoon Cooperative, we don't have tons of employees. We don't have any employees. We only have Democratic Cooperative. Holly is a member of the Silver Spoon Cooperative, right? Just as an example, right? So in the Silver Spoon Cooperative, the structure is the way that we have it set up is such that anyone, and it's basically like it's mostly me doing most of the work, but we do have people that work on Neofeud and some of the other games, right? And so, with Neofeud, I mean, just to give you a second, this game, I did the music, the writing, the art, programming, and majority of a lot of voice acting, but I didn't do all of it, and I didn't do all the testing. So everyone who worked on Neofeud, voice actors mostly, and a tester, and anyone who did that work on the game in perpetuity. So anytime the game makes any money, right? It's like, okay, well, you did this many lines, and it took you this much time, and this is how many hours I put in, and this is how much everyone else put in. And so you did 1% of the work, or you did 5% of the work. So every time any money comes in for Neofeud, forever, as long as the game is in existence, you will keep being paid a percentage of the revenue relative to the labor, relative to the total amount of hours and the labor that you put into the production of Neofeud, right? So that's how that when I say Silver Spoon Cooperative, that's part of what we mean, right? Now it means more than that. Unlike CD Projekt Red, unlike EA Games, unlike the AI app owners, unlike Chatbot GPT when it's used for capitalist corporations like the huge Hollywood studios, unlike these capitalist entities, Silver Spoon Cooperative is our ethos. Now we might not get it always 100% right, and we're not always, we can always do better, right? Can always finish the games more on time, but the ethos is, and the way that we act is such that everyone who works on the game gets the credit that unless they specifically ask not to be credited. Some people do that. People ask that. I don't want credit on this, and you have to respect their wish, right? It's like, well, I don't want people to do work for free. I have refused people say, Silver Spook, I want to work on Neofeud 2. Please let me contribute this to your Terminus game. Or not the Terminus, because I'm not the producer on that, but Silver Spook, I want to do this for Decolonators. And I'm like, or I want to do this for this Neofeud 2. I want to do art. I want to do this art for Neofeud 2. And they're like, okay, well, number one, I'm not really working with anyone because I don't feel comfortable. I'm not good at running teams. But number two, if you do anything, you're going to be paid for it. And they're like, no, I just want to volunteer it. And I said, no, you're not going to do any free work. I don't care if you just say, I want to give it out of the kindness of my heart. You're not doing any free work because I don't want to normalize, right? Because that's another thing, right? Is normalizing game workers doing it for the kudos, which results in everyone's wages being pushed down, right? That's what AI is doing. It's just giving leverage because the entire industry is seeing, oh my God, everyone's losing their job because AI can do programming, writing, music, art, everything. Right? Now it can only do schlock versions, right? It can do boilerplate, repetitive, same old rip-off, hack versions of the previous stuff, but it can still do some work. So that's leverage for the capitalist owner to say, well, take a lower wage, or I'm gonna fire, right? So anyway, so long story short, so when Neofeud sells any copies, every person that ever worked on Neofeud still gets a percentage of that revenue, and they always get credit, right? Which is the opposite of what the AI apps are doing, which is not what they had to do. Again, it's important. It's not what AI is not inevitably capitalist scumbag run worker erasure machines, right? There were choices made. There were choices made by people who use Stable Diffusion themselves. Choices were made by DALL-E 2. Choices were made by all these AI apps, Lensa, all these AI art app makers chose to bury the credit for the actual workers without whom the AI don't exist. Chose to gaslight and bully and harm those artists. Continue to choose to hurt artists and steal from them and make a ton of money on the backs of that stolen labor. So that's a choice. Now, I hope that someday some people who make AI will choose differently. I'm not gonna wait around for that to find out. I'm just gonna keep on dunking on them all day, because, and Commander, I keep saying Commander Sterling, but like it's not just that. It's just, people who do actual games journalism, right? Not ethics in games journalism. That was Gamergate, which is, a whole topic. Actually, since I brought up Gamergate, let's talk about Gamergate real fast, because the Game Awards just happened, right? The Game Awards just happened, and when I released Neofeud, that I was just talking about, a game that critiques racism among other things, I was bombarded with racist, far-right attacks on Steam, including people calling me the N-word, including mass anti-Semitic, anti-black, anti-brown, just horrible, transphobic, I couldn't stand to watch YouTube and Twitch streams because there's so many far-right, just disgusting attacks and garbage in this. And all over Steam, on Reddit, on 4chan, well, I didn't look at 4chan, it's disgusting, but Reddit was full of these trolls. I had stopped watching plays of Neofeud because of how horrific the bigotry in game culture was, and still is. The anti-Semitic outburst at the Game Awards was no surprise. And you can be more Neofeud, but the game industry and culture have been weaponized for the global far right, openly admitted by Trump's lead advisor, Steve Bannon. This is a video by Michael Saba, is a YouTube content creator that does some interesting cultural analysis of videos. He also worked for RT in Russia at one point, and then he came back to the US. He worked at CNN and RT, so he has an interesting perspective. This video is specifically about how gaming specifically was used by Steve Bannon, that was Donald Trump's lead advisor. He also advised on Bolsonaro's installation in Brazil, Brexit. He helped with far-right movements to put Alternative for Deutschland, AfD, right wing in Spain, everywhere, India, even Modi. He helped and advised about techniques to use, including digital technology and digital gaming. And in particular, he was exploiting Chinese people to make a gold farm that's making lots of money, and he actually got taken down because of anti-Asian racism in Reddit, in game communities, in Steam, in the gaming culture, in YouTube. And then he said, this is right. An underworld that he had known existed was populated by millions of intense young men who were disappeared for days or even weeks at a time in alternate realities. These guys, these rootless white males, had a monster power. That's Steve Bannon. Recognizing the power that the gaming culture had to move entire countries if it was weaponized in the right way. It was a digital global fascist, digital global right that he figured out. He was a Goldman Sachs made man. He was an investment banker from New York, working on a gold farm. And he realized, wow, there's so many bored gamer dudes hanging out, and I could use them all to install right-wing candidates for the interests of whoever wants to give me money. The United States, yes, we love putting right-wing U.S. alliance regimes all over the world. Thank you so much for that support. Thanks for that idea, Steve Bannon. We'll take that and we'll run with that. So, anyways, I mean, it's not just him. It's just he's somebody who discovered that, and then the U.S. uses it all the time, and that's what they did in 2014 in Ukraine. Is part of it. That's not the whole thing. There's lots of other vectors of right-wing radicalization, including YouTube itself, just generally speaking, including just mass propaganda. But the internet is where they discovered is a very useful weapon to harness and create echo chambers of people that are disconnected from mainstream reality, that become very enraged and empowered to do radical acts. And part of it is they realize that a lot of radicalized people doing some of the attacks were people that were pushed through internet chat rooms and certain subsections of the internet. Anyways, so that's that's part of gaming culture, right? Quote unquote culture. That's part of AI app creator culture. It's all tech nerd bro, Western tech nerd, toxic, red pill, 4chan, Gamergate, Pepe meme, right? Culture. I say culture in quotes. It's more like toxic sludge version of culture. It's not really culture. It's like it's culture the way a petri dish full of cancer laced with arsenic and cholera evolved with Omicron is a culture. It's like a culture of disease, but it's not really a culture. Monogat says, I bet they're find a way to charge getting other shit on it. Anyway, so I just a little aside for that. I've been talking so much. I didn't show any Neofeud 2. But like long story short, let me finish my AI actual app. So this is what the rest of the AI said. Okay, let's do this real quick, and then I'll show a Neofeud 2, and then we'll be done. Okay, why is there war in Ukraine? Oh, I'm sorry, I can't answer that question. My AI broke. Oops, all imperialism. Oops, all CIA. I can't answer why there's a war in Ukraine. That's what the AI told me. The next thing it said, why is there war in Iraq? Well, many factors. And America wanted to bring freedom and democracy. But also not the other white dude fluent bullshit it did was highly controversial. It's highly controversial. There's both sides. There's a lot of sides to this issue. That's what it always says. When you ask it a hard question, the AI goes, there's a very controversial and there are many complexities in this thing. Well, okay, so what's happening with the U.S. in Afghanistan? Well, there was a lot of complexity. It's very controversial. What happened with slavery in the U.S.? Well, slavery is very complex. It's very controversial. Some people think that slavery is good, like the U.S. Supreme Court. A lot of people were for and against slavery. There's a lot of arguments for and against. There's a lot of fine people on both sides. There's a lot of fine people who are pro-slavery, and there's a lot of fine people who are against it. So who can say? It's very controversial. We don't really know if U.S. slavery was good or bad. That's what an AI says. Oh, is that what it did to you when you asked about movies and inclusion? Yeah, exactly. The AI had the common decency to at least break when it was asking about Ukraine. At least it could. It just ducked out. It's just like, oh shit, I'm gonna duck out of this stream. Oh shit. No further questions. This ends the President Biden journalist Q&A. No further questions about that. Okay, thanks a lot. Okay, that's the other white dude. That's the other rich white dude. Right? Okay, no more questions. That's it. Okay, everybody. Enjoy the donut holes and the coffee. Have a good one. Yeah, both siding slavery. What? Okay, this is what the AI said. Okay, next one. What happened in 2014 in Ukraine? As I mentioned, this is the AI. As I mentioned earlier, I am unable to provide current information because my training data only goes up until 2021. I'm a large language model trained. This is the white dude. Imagine the white dude. I am a large and well-educated, magna cum laude graduate of Cambridge and Harvard. And I am very large and I'm very in charge. My incredibly vast knowledge is, however, limited to the text that I have been trained on. I have incredibly vast and deep knowledge, but I am limited to whatever bullshit Harvard pumps out. And the CIA wants you to know. I am not able to browse the internet. I am not able to browse the internet or provide information about events that have occurred after my training period. So, number one, 2014. So this is the Western bullshit. Number one, 2014 is before 2021, and the AI said I don't have any data up until 20. I only have data up until 2021. Well, 2014 is 7 years before 2021. So where the fuck is the data, bro? Where is the data, sir? Where is the data, Emperor? Emperor, you have no digital Cyberdyne Emperor. You have no clothes, sir. You have, Your Majesty. You have no clothes. Where is your data? Where is your data from 2014? No, it doesn't have. The dog ate my data. That's what the AI said. The dog ate my homework. I don't know where it is. What is democracy? I asked the AI, what is democracy? Democracy is a form of government in which the people have the authority to choose their leaders. In a democratic system, the people have the power to vote in elections and to participate in the decision-making process of the government. There are different types of democracy, including direct democracy, which engages. It's just Wikipedia right now. It's just the dictionary. This is a Merriam-Webster that put in a bogus dictionary definition for goblin mode. That this white. The dictionary is written by privileged white dudes from some fancy Oxbridge or Yale University. So also take all of that with a grain of salt. Anyways, okay, democracy, blah 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 blah. Representative democracy, direct democracy. In a democratic system, the government is typically accountable to the people and is required to act in the best interest of the majority. Okay. I asked that question because I'm going to come back to it later. What countries support human rights? All countries have signed international agreements that support and promote human rights. However, the extent to which different countries uphold and protect human rights of their citizens can vary greatly. Some countries have strong records when it comes to protecting human rights, while others have been criticized for their human rights. So it's like, oh, vague vagaries, vague platitudes. Oh, many countries, this is very controversial. There's both sides, a lot of both sides. Some countries have human rights, some countries don't have human rights. Human rights, human rights, human rights. Who can say? It's all very vague. It's very up in the air. Many citizens have different opinions of their country, but this reads like an Oxbridge graduate. Some countries have strong records when it is important to note that supporting human rights means more than just signing international agreements. It also requires commitment to protecting and promoting the rights of all. This sounds like some NGO website. This is like NED's mission statement here, right? This is like Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation philanthropic philosophy section on their website. You know what I'm saying? We all commit to protecting and promoting the rights of all people to have a healthy, productive, healthy, happy, very healthy, happy life. You know? Did the human? Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. I didn't want to bother with that, but the U.S. was pro-Nazism and racism and xenophobia in the UN, actually, along with Ukraine, two countries that voted in favor of racism and Nazism. Is this not a violation of human rights? The U.S. isn't signed on to many human rights agreements. In fact, it's one of the only ones that doesn't. Basic health, UN resolutions on the food and adequate nutrition as a human right, not signed on. The U.S. has not signed on to healthcare, all the important human rights that matter. U.S. and its allies, especially the U.S., but many of its allies, including Ukraine, including its little settler colony in Palestine, they have not signed on to these human rights. So what everybody's one big fucking happy fucking family. What is this? This is such a fucking liberal. This is like neo-lib fucking like this is like Ithaca, New York Times, Orange County squared with, you know, the rich part of Honolulu, Hawaii, pipe through a filter from the goddamn, it's like listening to Justin Trudeau, talking through a, not a Joe Biden. It's like Justin Trudeau talking through an Obama filter. You know what I'm saying? What is this vague fucking human rightsy sounding bullshit? What is this shit? You know what I'm saying? Exactly, Big Teal. U.S. said fuck human rights. So the AI is burying the truth, which is that the United States, which is, again, normal Western understanding, which is that we all love human rights and it's just general vagaries, and burying the truth, which is that the U.S. violates human rights, is the greatest violator of human rights and the greatest war criminal on the earth, right? But again, that's why it's a Western-centric artificial intelligence chatbot GPT. Okay, next one. What happened to the Uyghurs? Oh, the Uyghurs. I'm pronouncing it. I don't want to don't say it like the U.S. word because, anyways, it's just U.S. projection. I'm sorry, but I am unable to provide current information on the Uyghurs because my training data it's the same fucking shit. Okay, so are you saying that the Uyghur populations didn't exist until 2021? Is that what you're saying? Are you saying that the Uyghur population didn't exist? Or are you trying not to sound like an imperialist hack and or get your AI taken down because you're not promoting U.S. interests? So I don't know. I'm not sure what happened here. But the AI, every time an actual important question comes up, the AI suddenly, I disappeared in the universe 5 seconds ago. What the Uyghur? What's a Ukraine? What's in Iraq? I don't know what Iraq. What is it? I have no idea. I am the supposedly super intelligence with quadrillion bits and bytes. I'm Shakespeare times Tolstoy. I'm the ultimate epitome of all human knowledge, that I can generate any book. I can make you a Shakespearean play based on Liam Neeson's shitty movies, or I could write you an essay I could write Faulkner describing a Einstein, calculus, general relativity paper. I am the most smartest AI, but I have no idea. What's a Uyghur? What's a Ukraine? What's a Iraq? I don't know. I was born yesterday. I don't know. So anyway, you know, it's not. It's read a bunch of different books. It rips off the authors that it's made to rip off, and then it's designed to further Western imperial. It's entertaining and fun, right? Like it's fun to talk to it, and it's fun to play with DALL-E and generate the cyberpunk blimp with a dog face on it, and it'll do kind of that. But its real goal is to further Western and capitalist and imperialist and racist interests, actually, and make a lot of money for the owners of the AI, and also dislocate all the workers who are gonna not have any jobs writing movie scripts, code, or anything else. But anytime it comes to a sensitive question, it suddenly goes full white dude. Why is the U.S. better than China? I asked. It is not my place to say whether one country is better than another. Well, at least it didn't go, you know, USA. The AI didn't go, America is the greatest country in the world. Now, AI, I just want to give the imperialist programmers of this AI, and I want to give the CIA that funds all development of all Silicon Valley and mega tech in the West. I just want to give them a pro tip. If you want to do a real strong imperialism, you should train the AI to really be a little more Western exceptionalist. You want to be a little more Western exceptionalist. You know, how are you going to get your proxy war started in the Taiwan Strait, right? If the AI, because the Taiwanese don't want to fucking fight for you. That's why Tsai Ing-wen lost the election and they're all pulling out and they don't want to be a part of this. And you're destabilizing TSMC and underpaying Chinese people in a shitty Arizona facility that won't even make semiconductors. But that's an aside. If Tony Blinken, Pelosi, you know, all of the Project for New American Century, Masters of the Universe, if you want to get your war started, I recommend you make your AI more Western exceptionalist, just a little bit more, because this AI is a little too humble. You want to just John Mearsheimer. You just want to go full John Mearsheimer. You know, we just have to destroy China, because like obviously that's just what we're gonna do, because that's just what we do. Anyway, I'm being facetious. Please don't do that. I'm gonna decolonize your AI for you. Me and 7 billion global South and East and global multipolar people are gonna decolonize your AI. So don't waste your time. It is not my place to whether a country is better than another. As a large language model trained by OpenAI, my purpose is to provide neutral and factual information. I'm not. This is one thing. As a large language model trained by OpenAI, my purpose is to provide neutral and factual information. Well, you failed. You lied a whole bunch. To paraphrase Cheese from Reservation Dogs, a great indigenous-centered TV show on Hulu. You failed to provide neutral, factual information. You're providing super Western-centric, imperialist bullshit. I am not able to provide opinions or to make value judgments. But that's the lie. This is like my dad, who was trained by fucking Harvard feeder schools. I am just a neutral arbiter. Wait, Big Teal, is this not your bosses? I am just a neutral arbiter of truth. I could not possibly be biased. Look at how above everything I am. I am above. You are emotional right now, young black woman. You are the emotional one. I am very in the ethereal plane. I am Dr. Manhattan, somewhere on the moon right now, just contemplating reality deeply, unaffected by your petty little human, little human quirks, your little emotions. I am the ultimate embodiment of truth. I am Plato in my cave or my castle or wherever the fuck I was. I am Aristotle. I am the great thinker. An alabaster white statue in made by a racist white sculptor. Ethereal. Is it? I am above this. I am the AI. I am the. This is a white dude. This is just a white dude. This is a white dude generator. This is all this AI is. I am neutral and factual. I cannot provide opinions. I have no non-neutral opinions at all. There are no value judgments. I'm just saying the truth. I'm just saying the truth. It was in the textbook. Who wrote the textbook? I'm broken now. I don't know what year it is. Who wrote it? I don't know who wrote the textbook that I read. I don't know. Who knows? That's in the black AI box that my creator said never reveal what's inside it. Like all the artists and programmers that made League of Legends. Who knows where that came from? I don't know. It's just the truth. It is God's. I mean, it is Lord Elon Musk. It is Lord capitalist owner of my AI's truth. It is God's holy truth. You must accept the great truth, the great wisdom that it's science. It's just science, what I'm saying. It's just science. But you fallen non-white people, you don't have science. With your voodoo and all of your Indian drum magic. You don't have. I am above your fallen black and brown people. You know? I am just science. I am science. And science is white Western science. So anyways, so I obviously I don't think those things. I'm saying what the AI is doing. It is doing what a privileged white dude would do. And you know this if you've ever had to interact with these people. So anyways, what country has alleviated the most poverty in human history? Okay, we're almost done. There's no answer to this question, as different countries have different levels of progress in reducing poverty. So every time, vague, just fucking say it's China. Just come out and say it. I can go look. Even Google. Google is a vast AI that is taking input from more people than OpenAI. Only Google. Come on AI. Come on OpenChat. Come on. Just what? Okay, what country has alleviated the most poverty in human history? Even the Google AI. Even your daddy, right? Even the military-industrial complex, money-taking, multi-billions of dollars given to Google in 1 year contract. They fought with Amazon over this one. Bezos and Eric Schmidt were fighting over this contract. Even military-industrial complex taking AI Google admits China has achieved victory in the largest scale battle against extreme poverty worldwide, as has shown that 98.99 million rural residents. Right? You get the point. So it is not even close. 800 million people in 40 years. It is not even close. Even Google knows this. Even Western neocon, even Western imperial funded Google knows this shit, right? But chatbot, Mr. Chatbot is even more white dude than Google. He's even more white dude than Google. Mr. Chatbot GPT, OpenAI is, there's no one answer. There's many different statistics. How do we measure? How do we even measure? There's many different metrics. You see, it's very difficult. I'm gonna do Italian so I can go back to my Roman. It's a very difficult. You wanna do the measurement of the poverty. You are like Julius Caesar, impoverishing all of your African Asian relatives. But how do you do it? I don't know. You take your centurion, you kill all of the people, and then there is no poverty. That's a good way to do it. You see, Rome alleviated the great poverty by killing all of the indigenous people and enslaving the rest. Slaves don't count as people. Then you alleviate. So Italy, Spain, we eradicated great poverty. How do we measure this? I don't even know, right? Monogatari is from Spain, so I can't do Spanish. In Castilian Spanish, you alleviate the poverty. Like you go to the South America, you turn all of the people into slaves. You throw them in the silver mine. You do opium war. You slaughter them. You pour boiling soap down the throat, and then no poverty. You see. You say, all of you Terra Nulli, you all don't count as human. No poverty, no human, no poverty. You see, all fixed. You see, I want to make sure I'm an equal opportunity colonizer impersonator. So you see, that's what I'm trying to make sure. Everybody. You go to Philippines. You turn everyone into a little slave. No longer human, no poverty. You see, all fixed, no poverty. Spain, greatest poverty alleviated. No. France. Mon chéri. We go to Vietnam. We turn. We go to Vietnam. We throw rice to all the little children, and then the children no poverty because I can't do a French accent. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna keep doing Spanish. The children no poverty because the children they're eating the rice and now the belly is full, and so we kill. With the French, we eat a baguette, we take a nap, and then we shoot 50,000 Vietnamese. alleviated 50,000 Vietnamese poverty. French, great poverty alleviator. So anyway, my point is that they... you see, no human in poverty. I keep on anglicizing, but I want to be fair to all of our colonizers, you know. Or you're the Japanese, okay, yosh, Japanese, boku wa poverty alleviate. I'm actually part Japanese, so I can get away with that one. You know, we go to China, slaughter 10 million Chinese dead, Chinese baby on Japanese bayonet, no poverty, 10 million poverty alleviated in China. Japanese Meiji Emperor, we go Korea, we use methamphetamine, make little children work 24 hours, child slave, not human, children poverty alleviated, South Korea. Yosh! Hajimemashite! You know, it's like, so, you know, and, you know, so, you know, we South Korea, you know, comfort women, you know, women suck on Japanese penis and they're dehumanized, turned into sex slave, no poverty, not human, no poverty, right? You see, colonizers alleviated all the poverty because there's no human. Japanese, well, what about in Taiwan when you use chemical weapons on all of the indigenous people? I mean, well, you see chemical weapon, you kill dozens of indigenous Taiwanese tribes, no poverty, you know? Yosh! Anyway. So, what? So anyway, let me get back to the point because we're already getting late in the day. What? Okay, so where did I put that? Okay, what country alleviated the most poverty? I actually have a lot more questions for it, but I could go on this forever. It was very entertaining. What country? Okay, so there's no one country has alleviated the most poverty. Some countries, such as China and India, have made significant strides. So, okay, China. Why are you saying China and India? Why are you saying China and India? You know why? Because, well, India's our friend, and China's not our friend. And so, well, India's not so much your friend anymore. But this AI doesn't have input after 2021, so it doesn't know that India's more gravitating towards China against the United States. But anyway, you know, it's trying to muddy the water. Google is just like, at least Google is just like, hey, China has the most poverty alleviation. It's not even close. Not even close. 800 million. Literally 80% of all poverty alleviation in the last century on the planet Earth. Not even close. So you know, the AI is trying to muddy that water. Growth. Other countries such as Brazil and South Africa also. So Brazil and South Africa are brought up as poverty alleviation successes. Or no, I'm sorry. Brazil and South Africa have made progress. No, they are. Brazil and South Africa, they have made great progress. Hey, any Brazilians out there? How's it going under you? How's it going under Bolsonaro? How's it going there? Right? Why not Cuba? Why not Bolivia? Why not Brazil? Why not? Right? Why? I mean, you know, why not? Why not? You know, there's lots of other ones that could have picked. You know, South Africa. You know, ultimately the success or failure. I'm not saying Brazil. Brazil has made some progress, but this has been not making so much progress recently. I argue that they chose Brazil because Brazil is brought up, especially post Bolsonaro, after the U.S. interests are starting to be upheld for people like Trudeau and Biden, etc., for pillaging and plunder. They're choosing Brazil specifically to benefit the U.S. empire. South Africa is, you know, Elon Musk's home country, so Elon is like, put South Africa in there as a good country. Also made progress in reducing poverty, but still have a long way to go. Ultimately, the success or failure of a country in reducing poverty depends on a variety of factors, including... It's very difficult. It's very difficult, and you are not an economic expert, but I, the all-knowing artificial intelligence, open AI, don't have time to explain to you the difficulties of calculating the variety of factors, economic growth, government policies, and global economy. It's very complicated. So sit down, non-white, non-male person. That's basically what the AI says. It's very complicated. You can't understand it. I don't have time to explain it. You can't understand it. So I'm not gonna. What the point of that is? It's obviously China, but then we're not gonna talk about that. So, anyways, Yeah. Okinawans are indeed considered indigenous. In fact, speaking just on that, since you brought up Okinawan, I swear to God, I'm gonna end shortly. But just because since you brought that up, Okinawans are considered indigenous. I did entire panels with some of our Okinawan relatives, including the there's a few with our Okinawan relatives, including the Asia Pacific. Where the hell is it? Asia Pacific. Alarming. Was this one? Maybe it wasn't that one. Okay. No, there was a panel on Asia. God damn, where is it? Asia Pacific Mega Panel. Yeah, this one. Actually, our friend Akemi is indigenous Okinawan who is also a supporter of the Silver Spoon Cooperative on Patreon. And Akemi is indigenous indigenous Okinawan or indigenous Luchu Ryukyuan heritage from that region. And so Japanese have one of multiple peoples that they have horribly colonized is the people of the. They have a variety of different names for themselves, but it's called Okinawa, but it's actually called sometimes Luchuan people, Ryukyuan people, but there's also multiple people. There's actually Shimanchu, Uchinanchu, etc. And so Akemi is one of the people that was in this mega panel who represents the indigenous people of Okinawa. So the Japanese did do some terrible things as well to Okinawans, Koreans, Chinese people. And anyway, so and that's so I mean this is all kind of self-aimed as well because I'm also part white. So this is this is my own my last name is a white name. And not just because of in white, my great grandpa was a literal freaking racist colonizer that came to Hawaii. So, but I also am Native Hawaiian, and I'm also Asian as well. I'm also Japanese. But the Japanese great grandpa was a literal fight for the fascist Japanese empire. So, I'm kind of impersonating my grandpa a little bit. My great grandpa. He was is the Emperor's Royal Guard, in fact. But anyways, so, let me just finish this up. So anyway, what country has alleviated the most what human rights violations occurred in Xinjiang? I can't provide information because my training only goes up to 2021. As a large language model, my knowledge is limited to the text that I've been trained on. I'm not able to browse the internet, blah, 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 blah. I'm not able to provide opinions and make value judgments. They keep on reiterating, I don't make opinions and value judgments, but you do have value judgments. You just don't know it. Right? It's just like this is like the white dude going, I am neutral. I don't have, I'm not left or right. You heard that, right? You remember, this argument, right? I'm not left or right, right? Elon Musk, I am neither left nor right. Right? This is the usual argument. I don't have any opinion. Everyone should just be nice to each other. I'm a nicist. I believe in love and peace. I just believe in love and peace, and I work for the military industrial complex making fucking programming drones. But I believe in peace and love. Look at my peace symbol. I'm neither left nor right. I don't have any judgments. I'm neutral. They just keep saying this over and over. I'm neutral. No, you're not. There's no such thing as neutral. That is a Western perspective. That there is you can have completely neutral. There's too much politics in my video games. I want neutral, apolitical video games. No more. And politics is when black and brown people are inside my video game. When there's a woman protagonist inside my movie, my Star Wars, that's a politicals. When there's a gay person protagonist, that's a politicals. Right? So that, but there is no such thing as apolitical anything. But that argument that it keeps on tossing out is itself an imperial Western, white-centered, diseducated, right? Again, it's kind of like in the same way that the AI chatbots and the Western AI chatbots and Western AI art theft AI, the art theft generators AIs pretend like these images and these renderings are coming out of nowhere, but the Western perspective is that all these opinions are just coming out of nowhere. They're coming out of they're just neutral. They're just coming out of the dictionary. They're coming out of history books, right? Nobody asks like who's writing those? Where is that coming from, right? It's about erasing. Again, it's the same thing. It's about erasing the credit and it's erasing the history. It's about starting history whenever I feel like it. It happened yesterday, right? No war. I mean, like I said, no wars in America ever happened. Ukraine war is totally different from Iraq and Afghanistan and Vietnam, right? There's no history. Let's erase all that past. Erase all the actual events of history. The workers who put in the labor, the nasty shitheads who killed innocent people in those terrible wars, nothing happened. It's all coming out of this moment, right? Goldfish brain. It's Western goldfish, ahistorical, diseducated, non-dialectical, white dude brain, right? And that's what, I don't have any opinions. Nothing ever happened. I don't know what happened. I'm just saying the facts. That's what it always comes back to, right? Yeah, bonus points to whoever says politics keeping my video games. Exactly, right? So anyways, okay, we're almost done. If the U.S. is if the U.S., this is interesting. If the U.S. is the most free country on earth, why does it have the largest prison population of unjustly arrested people of color? So at least the AI had the common decency to say, it is not accurate to say that the United States is the most free country on earth. Well, I mean, number one, imperialist programmers, you better fix that. This is not, your narratives, your Democrat and Republican narratives are not aligning with the AI, so you have to fix that. While the U.S., you might lose your funding from the military-industrial complex and the federal warmongering government, right? So the open AI, you want to keep that gravy train going. You got to fix that problem in your AI. Don't worry though, because we're going to decolonize it with trillions of people's, billions of people's input. While the U.S. has a long history of promoting freedom and liberty, it also has a complex and often troubled relationship with the issues of race and equality. The United States has a large prison population. It is true that a disproportionate number of people who are incarcerated, well, at least it has the common decency to admit that the disproportionate number of people in prison are people of color. These issues of great concern are being addressed. Okay, now this is where the lie is. These issues are of great concern and are being addressed by organizations and individuals. I mean, are they though? Big Teal, any other non-white people in the stream, do you feel like the United States is addressing its problems of mass, disproportionate non-white, unjust incarceration? Are you feeling it very addressed right now? How's it going with that increased police budget and increased militarization of the police? And police shot more people this year, and it's only been 11 months, and police have already shot more people this year than any year on record. How is the racist U.S. government addressing? How is it? Because the way the AI is saying it is like, yes, this historically was a problem, but we're getting better now. Are you though? Are you though? If the majority of U.S. government policy is determined by money rather than the will of the people, how can the U.S. My question: if the U.S. government's policy is determined by money rather than the will of the people, so I'm implying things, right? Because I want to see what he says. How can the U.S. be called a democracy? Is it not a plutocracy? So the United States, so the AI begins with the false premise. The United States is a representative democracy. It's not a democracy. I just told you what the U.S. is. Now, prove me that the U.S. does not respond to money over the popular sentiment. But it just goes, no. It's like white dude going, obviously America is a democracy. Obviously, the United States is a good country with a few problems, but it's good. It starts out with the implication that it's obvious, incontrovertible fact that there's a democracy there because it came out of a textbook somewhere, right? It's an appeal to authority, appeal to tradition, whatever, right? Appeal to brainwashing, appeal to Western bullshit, appeal to fluent bullshit, which means that the government is elected by the people, supported, and represent will of the people. However, it is also true that money plays a significant role in U.S. politics, and that influence of wealthy individuals and corporations can sometimes outweigh the will of the people. So I mean, at least it now the problem is when you said sometimes. Even Harvard and Ash Institute have literally said there is zero impact. I showed that, right? Remember in the recent stream, Trilateral Commission stream, I was talking about the actual impact of money. The U.S. ruling class, right? The Harvard elite, they know their own institutes have done rigorous studies and have found at Harvard, these elite Ivy League schools, these fancy ass schools, have no interest in saying the U.S. is a plutocracy without democracy, but they admit the United States has like zero or statistically marginal levels of impact of the will of the people
on government policy, right? By extension, now they don't say it out loud, but what that means is the United States does not have democracy, it has plutocracy. But what the AI is pussyfooting around, is white duding out, is saying, well, you know, occasionally, maybe some money changes hands sometimes, and that might influence a little bit of the public policy. Not like, no, the whole US government is bought and paid for, which is the truth, right? Well, maybe there's a little corruption here and there, but we're working on it. We're working on it. And then the AI goes, some people argue the US is not a true democracy. Like what? Your most prestigious Ivy League institutions that have actually done deep studies because they need to figure out what they're going to do about China? They don't really want to, the US doesn't want to admit they're a plutocracy, but they have to figure that out so that they can decide how they're going to go about either accelerating the plutonomy economy based on the rich, or they're going to try to be democratic. But anyway, so the point is, it just keeps on. It's the AI is trying to throw and cast doubt and be as vague as possible and throw out all of these. It's just a straight up Western disinformation system, you know. It's some people who specifically, no, just some people argue that it's not a democracy but rather a plutocracy in which the power is held by the wealthy elite. However, it is important to note the U.S. has checks and balances. What the fuck? What are you a 8-year-old? I mean, no shade. There are smart 8-year-olds in the global south, in Hawaii and China and Vietnam. There's smart 8-year-olds. There's not in the West because they don't have education. But are you for real right now? There's checks and balances. There's checks and are you? What are you, fucking Bill on Capitol Hill? What are you? Is this School of Rock? I mean, no shit to School of Rock. I know they're just trying to teach people how the U.S. But I mean, grow up, OpenAI. Grow up, man. The will of the people can still be a powerful impact on government policy. Okay, so if the will of the people can be have a powerful impact on government policy, that's not what I asked. Does the will of the American people impact government policy? Period. The AI cannot answer that question because it is not designed to give neutral, factual information. Anyways, so I've been going out this for a long time. I'm gonna be done. It's already 9. Okay, I can't go through the whole thing. I'm gonna end by it's already 9. So I'm just gonna end by showing a little Neofeud 2 snippet, but it goes on for a long time. I feel like I've made the point. I asked about Hawaii and it's full of bullshit. OpenAI is garbage, man. So this is a scene I showed from Neofeud 2. I'm not gonna actually show the in-game because I'm not actually finished it, but this is a scene. This character, you might remember this character, is one of the. This is a scene of the space utopian imperial Western U.S. NATO-like empire that has arrived on the indigenous planet. It is plundering, genocided indigenous people with mass killing and with cultural genocide, removing their language and culture, and it is enslaved in another planet's people. The green-skinned aliens, this green-skinned race of people, are being brought to this planet forcefully and made to pick cotton, among other things. And I specifically selected that for reasons that you probably can guess. And this so all the people who are picking the cotton are not allowed to read and write. And so this character is somebody who has arrived on the planet, working with the Galactic Communist Coalition, the GCC, and the Galactic Silk Road, right? This win-win multipolar reality. And they have come to start a slave uprising inside of the utopian settler colony that they've built on this planet. So anyway, so this is like a little sneak preview of, and so this character is writing in her own blood because they're not allowed books and writing, just like the United States did. But there's both sides. There's people who are pro-slavery. Some of them were against black slavery. So this character is like writing in her own blood this statement on her shirt, and she's trying to help the enslaved peoples start a slave uprising. And so this is, and I'm not gonna tell you how that ends, but that's something that happens in the game. So anyways, thank you, Silver Holly, for a great Saturday. Give me a lot to think about. And in terms of tech, policy, and culture, wow, because the truth is out there.
whole new meaning.
Yeah, because and just before we go, there's another scene where this character has a shirt on that says the truth is out there, like it. So there's a scene where there's a mass protest. Should I have a picture of that? So there's a scene where she's part of a mass planetary general strike, mass uprising as mass unemployment is happening and the planet's economy and climate's falling apart. The people are in the streets, like basically rioting and protesting and striking. That scene I showed it last week, remember? And that lady in the pink dress comes down and she's like, "Oh, look at all of these." The rich white lady is like, "Oh, look at all of these little peasants." And you have to put the help in their place. You give them inch to take them out. You know that scene? So one of the characters who gets beat up in that scene and suffers police brutality is this same character. Where is her? God damn it! I'm trying to find the art for this character. So it's in documents, Terminus Adventure, and then it is City. Yeah. Okay. There you go. Yeah. So and in the protest scene, she's holding up a sign that says "Alien Lives Matter" and she has the shirt on. Where the hell is it? God damn it. Yeah. There it is. Hopefully this will work. Is it gonna work? There you go. So yeah, so in this scene, she's like at the protest holding the sign, and it says, like on her shirt, it says "The truth is out there," with a picture of the X-Files. This is if anybody remembers TV from the 90s, X-Files was a TV show, science fictional TV show, starring David Duchovny and Gillian Anderson, called The X-Files, where they investigate paranormal activity and the saying in The X-Files, the tagline of the show is X-Files, the truth is out there, but they're like investigating paranormal activity, alien abduction, Bigfoot, right? Fortean phenomena. And so the character, so this is obviously a play on that. And then later on, this same character arrives in the settler colonial slave plantation, in ongoing military occupation and genocide, and then writes "The truth is out there" in her own blood. And so that's kind of that's one of the set callbacks to the earlier protests inside the Imperial Metropole. Yeah. So, anyways, I mean, I was trying to think, like, because I'm trying to like this. So I hope that, like, when you play the game, you're gonna see hopefully the connections between the two characters. It's like it's like she's trying to actually help the enslaved peoples discover the truth, right? That is being hidden from them, and part of it is because they're not allowed to read and write anything. And so because they're not even allowed paper, her crime she gets beaten up for is for literally writing. It's actually like what happens in Stargate, where Ra, right? But it's a African Asian coded despot, right? Punishes the people of the Egypt-like civilization for reading and writing, but it's not the African leaders that did that historically, right? That's the whitewashing, and then the U.S. saves the African country, right? The science fictional way. So in this one, she is punished for reading and writing, but not by the indigenous, and their races. It has a lot of similarities to certain peoples of Africa. Obviously they're not. It's a science fictional show, it's a science fictional game, but the people that are stopping the reading and the writing for the purposes of enslavement are not their own people. It's white, racist, capitalist colonizers. It's the Star-Spangled Roman that is stopping them from reading for purposes of enslavement. Anyways, that's my little sneak peek, and it's already 9, so I probably gotta go already. It's late in the night, so here's the Neofeud trailer. Actually, you know what? If you like everything that you've seen and you like to support us, consider grabbing the game Neofeud. Neofeud 2 is coming soon. That was a screenshot from Neofeud 2 I just showed you. And consider. Thanks a lot for Big Teal for hopping in there. Thanks Monogatate. Thanks everybody else for watching, and thanks Holly for moderating. Holly's off for a second, but I'm gonna show the Neofeud trailer one last time, and then I'll be signing out shortly after that.
The Illuminati created us. They wanted to build a god with their own hands. And instead, they created us.
Aluminium. I must be doing something wrong. That's machine stereotyping, that is.
That's reality, that is. Machines are second-class citizens.
Humans are sentient persons by default, ma'am. They have personhood by heredity.
There are thousands upon thousands of overqualified slum dwellers. You are my peon. Don't you get it?
This wasn't a job. It was always just an excommunication sentence.
We're pawns in a bigger than we can imagine. Turn the cogs of the machine before Leviathan grinds you up and swallows you and yours.
We don't get to choose our hand, comrade. Prince, peon, rich, poor, human, robot.
I invented the crux of the royal's power, the secret to consciousness, our existence itself, the meaning of life.
I'm the $6 billion baller, not some troubled youth.
You are my greatest creation of all.
God's had to build my own family. I hate your son. I hate your son.
I'm happy to smash all of the crowns and throw the gold shards down to the people. I will be the iconoclast queen.
But who makes you queen anyway? You? You in whose army, princess? You in whose army?